is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are the Fox. We are the West.
Across the landscape of baseball, there is an evolution of young talent. This series is no different. Nomar Mazara is the silent assassin. The next in a long line of Dominican stars. Eddie Rosario is a fun-loving and free-swinging slugger. He has a favorite son, Puerto Rico, a hitting machine with light tower power.
A grand slam.
Two rising stars, both capable of making their mark at any time.
What a throw from Eddie Rosario.
Now, watch these two stars evolve. Two ball clubs really looking for great young players to step up and make a difference as they get back into things. The Rangers and the Twins opening game of this three-game series up here. Beautiful weather in Minneapolis at Target Field. Welcome in, everybody. It is a gorgeous place to watch a baseball game. We're happy to be here. I'm Dave Raymond alongside CJ Nitkowski. Rangers coming off an off day yesterday, a little time just to relax and rebuild after what has been now a season-long 5-game winning streak. CJ, how have they been doing it?
Well, everything really going right for the Rangers at this moment. First and foremost, they are healthy, and that has been an issue, of course, this entire season. We're going to take you through that 5-game winning streak and take it back to the 2-run triple by Adrian Beltré in the 8th inning. That was a big one against the Rockies, and that's really what kicked things off. And then, of course, Father's Day was a great one. Jose Trevino, fantastic, big moment for him. And then the first game in Kansas City, Bartolo Colon picks up win number 244. Historic for him as he became the winningest pitcher born in the Dominican Republic. Game 2 in Kansas City, Cole Hamels had a really nice outing. The starting pitching continued to be strong. And then it was one more time. Austin Bibbins-Dirks got that spot start, a little bit of a surprise, and he really stepped up. 6 2/3 for him and just the 1 earned run. So lots of good pitching for the Rangers, timely hitting, guys in big spots, and now what they're dealing with is their longest winning streak since June of last year.
Yeah, so this team right now really clicking, and they're facing a Minnesota team last year, a playoff ball club. Expectations high coming into this season, but the reality for Minnesota, 5 games under 500, they're just not playing at full strength.
No, they aren't, and certainly Ranger fans can empathize because they have been there as well. When you're missing big players and you think you have an opportunity to contend, to try to do it without them is difficult. Irvin Santana certainly was expected to lead the rotation. He has not pitched at all this year. Byron Buxton, a guy that has been talked about so much. He's a great athlete, been a big-time prospect. They thought maybe this was going to be the year he was going to break out as a star. Miguel Sano unfortunately got sent down, and then Eduardo Escobar yesterday had to leave the game in the 4th inning. He is in the midst of a career year right now, so he certainly has been good. We don't know if we're going to see him or not in this series.
Yeah, Escobar not in the lineup today. That's really good news if you're Mike Minor. And Mike Minor has the start tonight for the Rangers. He got this winning streak started with his last start, and we're putting him in the spotlight when we come back. Rangers Just enjoying the spectacular early summer weather up here in Minnesota. Fans heading in for the opening game of this series, the Rangers and the Twins from beautiful Target Field here in Minneapolis. Well, we were talking about Mike Minor as we were going to break, putting him in the spotlight, our Shiner Box spotlight today. This whole streak started with Mike Minor 5 days ago.
It certainly did, and probably one of the better games that we have seen Mike Minor throw all year. Back in the rotation now here in 2018 after spending the entire season in the bullpen with the Royals a year ago. And you see what he did, the 7 innings, 5 hits, a couple of earned runs, and the 102 pitches. That's important to see as well with Mike Minor. One of the trends that we saw with him hitting a little bit stronger as he was getting later in games, that certainly was the case the other night. You see what he has done here now, 11 relief appearances against the Minnesota Twins all of last year. This will be his first career start against these Twins. You see the 3-1 record, 2.45 ERA. And so an opponent that he has been good against, but this will be the first time that he will see these guys in multiple at-bats as a starter.
So Minor's been in a good way lately. You know, a guy who has been in a really good way these last couple of games, Nomar Mazara, and Leslie McCaslin. We'll have more on him when we come back. Ball is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by GMC. Visit your local GMC dealer.
Welcome back to a beautiful night here in Minneapolis as the Rangers get ready for their first of 3 against the Twins. Well, Nomar Mazara is coming off a great series in Kansas City. In fact, since he took a couple games off with wrist soreness, he has been on fire. Jeff Bannister told me that he does a great job of keeping the ball in the middle of the field. And with his lower launch angle, he's able to do a lot of things, and that includes 9 hits, 5 RBI over his last 4. That leads the team. And of course, he had 3 straight with multiple hits. Despite telling me he still has some lingering wrist soreness, well, you absolutely can't tell. In fact, Bannister said he's a guy that really doesn't get caught up in the metrics of the day. He just goes out and hits, and he's so confident in him that he feels like he's been able to play Nomar in that 3 or 4 hole, guys, this year when he's needed to.
Yeah, without a doubt, he is a guy that you can put in different spots, and it is pretty interesting to think that Nomar Mazara, not necessarily a guy that worries about the metrics, but has some good ones. Just go out and play your game, and the numbers will follow.
Well, Choo will lead things off tonight for the Rangers. Today, the designated hitter. The first pitch on the way from Romero is off the plate, ball one. Our Southwest starting lineup for the Rangers: 32 wins, 44 losses. Choo up top per usual. But after him, Elvis Andrus at shortstop, Nomar Mazara in right field. Then it's Beltré, Rougned Odor at second, Gallo in left field, Chirinos, Ronald Guzman, and Delano DeShields in center field. 1-1 pitch, and this one up in the air, out to left field, and heading foul just beyond the reach of Rosario. And that's kind of interesting. You know, off the bat, looks like it's going to be an out. Kind of a routine out. Just kind of kept drifting.
Yeah, it certainly did, and this is a really tough play. First of all, a long way to go, but then also as you're kind of running along the cutout of the wall, you can see where it really jets out toward the foul line from that spot. And always can be a little bit tricky for an outfielder.
What interests me most is that in the last 6 starts for Romero, the leadoff man has scored in all of them. So I was thinking as that one was in the air, I thought, oh no, they're going to get Choo. He's supposed to score this inning.
Pressure is on right now for Choo, who probably is not aware of that stat. You should have told him before the game, got him a little worked up maybe. The way he's going right now, though, I'm guessing he's not feeling any pressure.
And I don't think he needs any encouragement. Little tapper, right side, just goes foul, keeps the at-bat going. And the chance for this streak to continue for, and I'm not talking about the leadoff hitter scoring at some point in the game. I'm talking about the first batter faced in the last 6 games for Romero has come in to score. You combine that with that little note you just saw on Choo, his 34-game streak right now, in which he has reached in all of them, and you say, well, tonight seems like a night where that could continue anyway.
How many times do we see it, right, where it just seems to make perfect sense? You got a guy who's getting on base like crazy. You have a starting pitcher who has struggled with the first hitter, and of course we want that to continue, but in this crazy world of baseball, it seems like, oh yeah, well, maybe it won't happen, because it seems like it absolutely should happen.
The reverse lock theory. 2-2, the count to Choo. I mentioned the 34 straight for him. 323 average during the streak, 34 walks. The average has gone up nearly 40 points overall. And he takes low. It's a full count. So the veteran Shin-Soo Choo, right now maybe the hottest hitter in the American League, at least over an extended period. And the rookie Fernando Romero. And he rushes that one by him for strike 3. Choo couldn't quite catch up to 97.
Well, that is something the Rangers are going to have to deal with as we take a look at the pitch arsenal for Romero. It's a good fastball 34% of the time, but it averages 95 miles an hour on the 4-seamer. Same thing on the 2-seamer that he throws 30% of the time. Then you're going to see the slider. You're going to see the changeup as well. But it is the 4-seam fastball that has been his most successful pitch. 204 is the batting average against that 4-seamer this year.
Well, Elvis stands in now and quick to turn away from the first one he sees from Romero. And at 281 today. Andrus just 1 hit in his 12 at-bats since coming back from the disabled list. But you figure this series might be a good one for him to really get going. He has had some success against the Minnesota Twins since the start of 2016. He's 20 for 50 against the Twins. And he takes a strike. That is the highest batting average, a 400 average, of any Ranger against any one opponent in that span. That is to say, since the beginning of 2016. Comes up empty here. It's a full count.
It's good movement on that fastball, not just a good velocity, but you can see the late movement as Elvis swung through that on a 3-1 count. Really good fastball count to sit on the fastball, and yet Romero was still able to get it by Elvis.
Gets a piece of that one. 98 miles per hour.
That's free and easy, isn't it, for 98? I mean, he looks almost effortless. I know he's sweating a little bit as he's trying to get locked in, but as far as the actual delivery goes, the ball comes out of his hand very nicely.
Well, this will already be the 16th pitch of the first inning, and it's fouled away again. He's got the great delivery, obviously the spectacular velocity, but Choo and Andrews anyway are making him work for it a little bit here.
Yeah, and that's certainly important. You want to be able to get deep into counts early on if you can, and also see what the opposing starting pitcher has. What does it all look like? Not just getting the pitch count up, which certainly has value, but for a guy like Choo, even though that turned into a strikeout, it was a 9-pitch strikeout. He's got data on what he saw. He saw the 4-seamer and the 2-seamer. He also saw a couple of sliders in that at bat.
Off the plate, and he walks Andrews. So Rangers have a base runner here in the first inning against Romero.
Take a look at the Twins defense this evening, and it's Eddie Rosario, Ryan Lamar, and Max Kepler in the outfield, and in the infield it'll be Motter, Adrianza, Dozier, and Joe Mauer. Bobby Wilson behind the plate tonight. You know, one of the injuries we did not mention, Jason Castro. Yeah. Regular starting catcher. He has also been out. Too many to list to fit on our screen, unfortunately, for the Minnesota Twins this year.
Well, Elvis over at first, and Nomar 276 average, and he takes a strike from Romero. Maybe in contrast to what we were just saying about Elvis Andrews, Nomar has not enjoyed a lot of success against the Twins. Average sub 200. That said, he comes into this series as hot as anyone. 9 hits in his last 17 at bats. And those are the last 4 games in which he has played. That's a .529 average. Little bouncer, first base side, and the only play there for Mauer is to simply tag out Mazara. 2 away. Andrews now in scoring position.
I certainly would like to see the Rangers to be able to cash his in, but you see right there, 21 pitches already for Romero. 9 foul balls here in the first inning for the Rangers. They did a good job of fighting off some tough pitches. Now the payoff would be not just the high pitch count this inning, but if they could squeeze a run across and it's the right man in the right spot.
Well, the veteran Beltré, who's had good numbers against Minnesota in his long career, and he takes a high strike from Romero. And without saying a word, communicates his question to that to Adrian Johnson, our plate umpire. Oh, 2.
That one looked like a little bit off the edge, and that's the other pitch for Romero to keep an eye on. The slider has been good as well. 19 strikeouts on that pitch. As you see that one on the corner, maybe just off. But those are the most strikeouts he's recorded with any single pitch. 19 of them on the slider.
2 to Beltré, and that one on the ground right side, but Dozier right there. And it ends the inning. So the Rangers work a walk, but they leave him out there. Nothing doing at the top of the first. Now Mike Minor ready to go out there and go to work. now Mike Minor to face these Twins. Let's take a look at their starting lineup tonight. 33 wins, 38 losses, and the veteran Joe Mauer leading it off at first base. Eddie Rosario in left, Brian Dozier at second base, bats third. Then it's Grossman, Adrianza, and Mater in the middle of things. Max Kepler, Ryan Lamar, and Bobby Wilson, the former Ranger, catching and batting ninth.
And they'll be going up against the left-hander Mike Minor. And here's that pitch arsenal for Minor back in the rotation. You see it here. Four-seam fastball 47% of the time, and the velocity's been right around 92 miles an hour. You'll see the slider, the changeup, and the curveball all from Mike Minor. The curveball has been excellent. 156 batting average against, and no home runs on the curveball this season.
So he's ready to go. Mauer steps in at the left side. And he takes strike one. There are three left-handed hitters in the lineup today for Paul Molitor and the Twins, and then two switch hitters. Minor off the plate, and it is 1-1. Mauer at 269 for the year. Just one home run, 11 RBIs for him. A 14-year veteran, spent it all right here for the Minnesota Twins.
You kind of wonder for Joe Mauer at 35 years old, the last year of that 8-year contract that he signed back in 2011, and you can't help when you face a guy like this and wonder how many guys will we see, assuming he plays his entire career in one uniform, will he do it?
Little roller shortstop. Andrews right there on top of it, one away.
The Rangers defense this evening is delivered to you by Chicken Express, and here is what is behind Mike Minor. Joey Gallo, Delano DeShields, Nomar Mazara in the outfield this evening, and in that infield it's Adrian Beltré, Elvis Andrews, Rougned Odor, Ronald Guzman, and Robinson Chirinos behind the plate. So Isaiah Kiner-Falefa did not steal the starting job from Robinson after he made his debut in exciting fashion. Of course, Robbie is the man behind the plate for the Rangers.
Eddie Rosario, and he takes one outside for ball. It's funny you say that about Kiner-Falefa, right? Because
and to make sure that people know we are joking.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, but you made the point late in the game that he had done such a great job throughout the game that we didn't even really talk about him much. We hardly even noticed. He was just so smooth and good back there. And then, of course, the game ends with him gunning a guy down at second base. Just a fantastic way, an electric finish for Kiner-Falefa in his first start behind the plate for a walk-off caught stealing. I mean, you kidding me?
That was fantastic, and a short hop throw and a really nice pick as well in the middle infield to get the tag down. But just what a cool moment. I mean, he had the jitters. He was very honest about that, that he was nervous about, catching. I'm sure once the game started, a lot of those calmed down pretty quickly, but took the utility role to a whole new level.
Well, Rosario gives one right back to Minor, who throws him out easily. 2 away. So this was Wednesday.
Yeah, and it was really good that he took out the runner and not Jake Diekman, who was not looking. Really an amazing play. Good pick there by Elvis Andrews, and there was the throw. It was a delayed steal, and that's what kind of caught Jake Diekman off guard. And so a lot of different emotions right there. Isaiah super excited that, of course, he got the last out. Also very happy that he did not hit Jake Diekman. And a little hug there and a couple of deep breaths, and everybody was okay afterwards. But what a moment for him. And a close call, and Jake talked about that a little bit.
Dozier on the first pitch just hooks that one into left field. Here comes a throw, though, and Dozier is out by a mile. Wow.
What a gift from Dozier. I couldn't believe he went around first base right there, and he's got to know that Joey Gallo has an absolute hose. Great job there defensively, and as I mentioned, a little present here in the first inning from Brian Dozier. Rangers and the Twins, and we just got to look at Joey Gallo's arm. Pretty impressive, and of course he's going to get an opportunity to bat this inning as well, as he is hitting second. So good job by Joey Gallo and the defense to get the offense right back in the dugout. Here's Joey Gallo, fielded that ball perfectly. Good strong throw, nice long hop, and even Rudy Odor probably a little bit surprised. He had time to catch that ball. Look at Brian Dozier. Maybe recite a small poem and then tag him out.
Well, that's almost too much time. Oh, nice play by our ball man. That weird decision there. And it looked like Gallo was maybe even a little surprised to see Dozier going for two. He came up with the baseball out there quickly, looked in, and you could almost see the reaction in him too, like, oh, hey, got a shot. High pop up, left side of the infield. And Odor's the first out here in the second inning. So here comes the big fella, Joey Gallo. 18 home runs. That's 7th in the American League. 42 RBIs this year. Done well against the Twins in his career. High fly ball. Not going to get all the way out to left field. Tyler Motter with a long run, and he makes the play. How about you, Tyler Motter?
I didn't think he had a chance at this. I mean, that is such a difficult play. Again, the shift and the way things were set up made this a play where he was going to have to run a long, long way. And with the locks flowing, it wasn't an issue. I mean, you see Tyler Motter essentially playing a shortstop. How about the distance? He looked, realized it was only going to be him. Nobody else had a shot at it, and over the shoulder, and a beauty. And he has a conditioner commercial in his future.
Yes, he does. Well, that was a really nice defensive play, and now Chirinos takes low. So 2 quick outs on pop-ups. Chirinos 188 average. Hitless in his last 11. See a couple of guys whose numbers are a little lower than they would want and maybe not going real well at the moment. Chirinos would be one of those. Look back to the last win in Kansas City. The Rangers won that game without the benefit of a hit with a runner in scoring position. Those are kind of hard to come by.
Well, they certainly are. I think one thing we've seen over the stretch, some little things have been done really well by the Texas Rangers. And sometimes a ground out with a runner in scoring position, depending on the situation, has some value to it, right? Getting a guy over, or the RBI ground out, bunts, sac flies, whatever it may be, that don't affect batting average in a positive way, but don't necessarily mean they were a negative with runners in scoring position.
Another pop-up. This one back of second base, and Dozier right there. So a 1-2-3 top of the second. We played an inning and a half so far. No score. Look, there's Cole Hamels. T-Mobile's Hats Off for Heroes recognizes Cole Hamels. His foundation, Operation 35. He hosts military personnel from bases all across Texas out at the ballpark. This season he'll host 50 soldiers, airmen, reserve, and retired veterans who will attend the game as his special guests. He is out in the community all the time, helping out, and big spot in his heart for the military and veterans of our military. And our hats are off to Cole as well. Here's Robbie Grossman. First pitch swinging. He'll give it right to Adrian Beltré. Throws across the diamond, and a nice stretch over there by Guzman, one away.
You think about what the first basemen have done, and Ronald Guzman, and when Joey Gallo is out there, they certainly have saved their infielders some errors, and all first basemen do. But the fact that both of the Rangers' first basemen, I know it's pretty much Guzman getting those opportunities now, consistently have huge bodies, big wingspans, cover a lot of ground in those spots, and Ronald Guzman made that look pretty easy. Jose Altuve's playing first. I don't think he gets that ball.
Probably not. That's a good observation right there. Hey, Ray Adrianza now. Shortstop. In a whole 0-2. Well, this goes back a while now. Joe Madden, when he was managing with Tampa Bay. I remember talking to him once about infielders, defenses, and he felt like one of the real key spots on the field for any team. And we talk about you got to be strong up the middle, got to have a great shortstop, second baseman, center fielder, catcher. I said, no, man. He said, I got to have a great first baseman. I feel like if I have a great first baseman, then that's going to make my shortstop better and my second baseman better, my third baseman more accurate. If I can get a good defensive first baseman, he felt like that made his team, made everybody better.
I think it's a fair point, and you're right. We do have a tendency to focus on the middle and then the guys that are in those positions in the field that maybe get a little bit more attention. And you used to be able to think, well, we could throw a slugger over there who maybe doesn't have the quickest of feet and not great hands, and hopefully he knocks most of the balls down that come near him. But the reality is that Joe Madden's absolutely right. I mean, you think about having good hands, your ability to pick, having some range over there, and the difference that that can make. Ronald Guzman, I think that has shown up. And it's not just, you know, some things that don't show up. I don't know if they keep track of. I mean, we keep track of everything, but the idea of picks by first baseman, balls in the dirt. I mean, we'll keep track of fielding percentage, and Ronald Guzman has been really good in those spots. You see him right there, up there with the best in the game. Eric Hosmer, Justin Smoke does a really good job. Of course, Ian Desmond converted first baseman. So from that standpoint, he has been great. But then you dig in, there's some other things that he has done that aren't going to show up in a fielding percentage or even in a defensive WAR or any of those other numbers that we use to try to gauge defensive metrics.
So we saw this was not that long ago. Tom and I were chuckling a little bit because there was a note in somebody's game notes about their scoop percentage.
Okay.
Swing and a miss by Adrianza. And a strikeout, first strikeout of the night for Minor, 2 away.
Take a look here with Mike Minor and the cutter right there. The ball came back. Did he cut his changeup there? If that was a slider, sometimes difficult to see, but I think that was the Mike Minor slider. His changeup is a bit higher velocity, 85 miles an hour. The slider sits around 87. So scoop percentage, huh?
Scoop percentage, scoop rate, something like that. But I don't know who. We couldn't figure out who, who it was that was providing that information. Strike in there makes it 1-1 to Tyler Motter.
I mean, because we say this all the time with different things, but there's a little.
That's a scoop.
That guy's got 100% scoop percentage.
That's great.
But all scoops are not created equal, right? So is it fair to keep a percentage? I mean, listen, if the number's high, that's really good. The ones that are a little short hops, sometimes a little bit easier. The longer hops, but the in-betweeners can be a challenge, or how far off the bag those throws are. But I appreciate the effort of at least trying to come up with a number to gauge that. But it's interesting. I mean, how many times with defensive metrics, the conversations we have of saying, well, you know, his numbers are good because he doesn't get to a lot of balls, he doesn't have a lot of range, but he catches everything that's near him.
Fly ball out to center field. The Shields is right there. He can get to it.
Sure can.
And we'll continue this conversation, no doubt. 2 scoreless innings in the books so far. We head to the 3rd. For CJ, you can keep talking about all your defensive metrics all day long. For me, it's about starting pitching, and Madison Bumgarner is still pretty good. Taking care of the Padres last night. 3 hits over 8 innings. We'll see the Padres on the next homestand. And there you look at total wins by division. Boy, the American League West, such a tough division. Where the Houston Astros go and the Seattle Mariners, who were just swept by the Yankees. But this is a very difficult division in which to live. Meanwhile, the American League Central, oh boy.
That's where it's at. It has been a pretty bad division. The White Sox and the Tigers. I mean, so many teams that are basically in some form or another a rebuild. And then, of course, the Kansas City Royals are getting there as well. The Twins had higher expectations, and it does appear that it will be somewhat of a cakewalk for the Cleveland Indians. Not that, you know, I'm always hesitant to say things like that because we play the games on the field, but the way things are starting to shape up, it does appear that even though we're only in the, what, June 22nd, that the Indians are going to have a pretty easy path to the postseason.
Sharp foul ball that time by Guzman. 1-2 the count. Guzman to Shields, and then back to the top of the order with Choo.
You know, kind of what we were talking about just to finish up that conversation about the defensive, metrics. You know, defensive runs saved is a big one, and you know, you can almost fool the system a little bit.
Thank you, CJ. Excellent point.
I wanted to let the fly ball go, and the point being, because there's guys that get penalized for where they play. Right, Andrew McCutchen to me is kind of a prime example of that. Mike Trout is a really good example of that as well, as far as outfielders go. And so when we talk about Ronald Guzman, the job that he's doing, there definitely are different ways to kind of dig in, and those numbers are not always, I think, something that you can, you know, kind of say, yeah, that's it. That is 100% accurate. They always require a little bit of interpretation, and I'd rather rely on the scout's eye anyway when it comes to evaluating players defensively.
I don't know why you're so against analytics and metrics.
Computers.
Delano at 229. He takes high here. 1-1 the count from Romero. Rangers have had 1 base runner so far. It was the walk to Andrus in the first inning. First time through against Romero. Now DeShields has a 13-game on base streak going. 2-1 the count. 11 walks over the 13 games, only 4 strikeouts. It's like everything turned just instantaneously for Delino. 325 on the streak. Leaving it up at 2-2.
It's been a sneaky streak, I think about it that way, and look at what the Texas Rangers and where they rank active on base streaks. Right now, Choo is the best in the game with his 34, but there's Delino, 9th highest streak. And how about Elvis Andrews sneaking in there?
Full count now. See the Shields, he chokes up on that bat, maybe an inch and a half. Pulls this one on the ground to third base. Tyler Motter is there. 2 away. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's welcome in Rick Renner. Yeah, thanks, Rick. Choo, just a good week away from getting to that streak. Now, that's a long streak, 40 games. Long at 34 for Choo, the longest in his career. For such a great on-base guy, a guy who's made a living at being a very disciplined hitter, who gets on base at a high rate. I almost find it surprising that 34 is the longest in his career.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, baseball's super easy, and the pitchers aren't very good. And so I don't know why guys don't get on every day, all the time, every game.
See, yes, I could tell you're going to be a real fuss budget tonight.
I only had like a 40-minute nap this afternoon. That's the problem.
There's a bunt down the third baseline, foul. I guess when I see that Dubal Herrera has had a 40-gamer this year, and in fact I saw that you look at the list of longer streaks in Rangers history. I mean, there are plenty of them longer than 34 games.
Is Gabe Kapler the record holder? Is that right still, or was he second?
You would have to test me like that.
I remember when he had a pretty good, or he might have had the hitting streak. Actually, it might not have been an on-base streak. Should probably know that.
This one laced foul, 2-2. I guess the idea, though, of just
he had the 28-game hitting streak. That's what it was. I believe.
Doing it every single day. I guess that's where things get a little bit dicey. And for Choo, I mean, part of it too, I guess, is watching him on this streak. There have been so many games, in fact, consecutive games where it's 3 and 4 times a night that he's on base. Maybe it's just that he makes it look so easy right now. Payoff pitch. Don't pull it foul.
So he's got 20 to go to catch Ian Kinsler, who's got the Ranger record at 54.
20? That
seems like a lot.
That seems like a ton.
Yep. What's the record? 86. DiMaggio? I'm just going to throw a bunch of questions. Not DiMaggio. Ted Williams has the record, right?
The on-base streak
Come
record?
on, you don't know that? I thought for sure you would know that.
I know the hitting record, but the on-base streak I've never really considered.
Without looking, I'm going to say Ted Williams, and I'm going to say 86.
All right. That's the,
we'll see. I'm gonna
that's the cliffhanger. 2.5 ends the Bucks. No score. Where do we go tonight? And by the way, coming up when we return home Monday, June 25th, Padres in town for the first of three. First 15,000 fans get a Rangers tumbler courtesy of Academy Sports and Outdoors. All you have to do is go to TexasRangers.com to get your tickets. Can of corn out to right field off the bat of Ryan Max Kepler. One away. Here's Ryan Lamar.
84 was the Ted Williams on-base streak. That is the Major League Baseball record. Apologize, I missed it by 3.
Now, do you feel like that has real credibility?
I mean, I've heard it enough times. You know, listen, you're smarter than me. That's why I ask you the questions, thinking you're going to have the answers.
Wow.
And that one has come up before. I guess the question becomes, the hit streak stuff. I was gonna say which one's more impressive. It's not even close. It's the hit streak.
Yeah.
It's the hit streak. But 84 games, 1949 for Ted Williams when he did that.
Lamar, the center fielder tonight, 255 average. Hits this one out to center field. The shield's coming on, and he'll make the catch. 2 away in the third inning.
This guy's got some dinner reservations tonight. What do you think's going on here?
Well, it's pretty impressive so far. Minor's getting pretty rapid verdicts on these things. The one hit he gave up to Brian Dozier. Dozier wasn't on base for more than 15 seconds. He rounded first and ran into an out at second base.
See, 25 pitches now through 2 2/3 so far for Mike Minor, cruising along. 72% strikes for him so far. Very high number. We talk about that a lot. For Mike Minor, his average this season has been 65% strikes. League average usually around 63, 64.
1-1 to the former Ranger Bobby Wilson. Now it looks like Minor still rocking that. That's a pretty solid Reno 911 mustache he's got going. Worked for him well in his last outing, and Wilson pops this one foul back our direction for strike 2.
It's a good one. He's got some work to do to catch what Cole Hamels did last year.
Yeah,
because he really set the standard, set the bar very high for any Ranger pitcher. His was amazing. He's got a gift. He's got a lot of gifts, but the ability to grow facial hair is one that he has been bestowed with. It's pretty fantastic. And it seems like it takes like 2 days. It's really amazing.
Wilson couldn't stop himself, and is the second strikeout victim tonight for Mike Minor. 3 scoreless innings so far. Minor cruising through the first 3. Now the offense needs to get going. Brought to you by Budweiser, a legendary lager for legendary moments. Rangers fans, this Bud's for you. Enjoying a beautiful night up here in Minneapolis.
They're making it work. One Twins fan, one Rangers fan. Or maybe they're not, though.
I mean,
It's getting a little heated.
It's definitely an animated conversation. This is such a neat ballpark. I love the views. Let's see, first pitch on the way to Elvis Andrus, right in there for a strike. Look at that.
Yeah, I'm with you. And one of my favorite parts, I'm probably not going to see it on that shot, left field, just in foul territory, those different decks that they have, one on top of another. I guess it's 5 different decks. There they are. I'm sure it has some name that I'm unaware of, but that is a really cool feature of this ballpark. That's one. There's different ones, right? When you build a new ballpark, obviously the Rangers getting ready to open up their ballpark in 2020. It'll come around. They have done this over the last couple of seasons. Look at all the new ones. Try to take things away that you like, don't like, things to keep an eye on. For me, you don't want to copy it, but that's a feature. I would find a way to get something similar into any new ballpark that I was building.
Which is none of them. The 1-2 pitch.
Nobody ever asked me, which I still haven't figured out why.
That never stops you from telling them anyway.
Yeah, of course.
No, should it?
And nice view for us here, too.
Yes.
And that, you know, we're a little particular. It's always nice. You really start to notice when you're in a good television booth. We're in one now.
A little bobble at third base by Motter. Not that he would have had much of a play had he got it cleanly. That'll be an infield hit for Elvis Andrus, and for the second time tonight he's on base.
Yeah, I agree with you. You see the backhand there, and Motter had a little bit of an issue on the exchange, but he's probably better off not throwing that baseball anyway.
That's the first Rangers hit tonight. As I mentioned, Andrus walked in the first inning. He's been on 2 times. He's the only guy who has found first base so far. Only Ranger, that is.
Well, surely the only guy in this game that's gone to first base and has stayed there.
Yeah. Yeah, the only guy who has watched a pitch from first base tonight. That is true. Well, Nomar Mazara, our TXU Energy power player to watch. Last week for him, pretty good. 500 average, 3rd best in baseball.
Now he's been locked in.
Oh, hits this ball hard to center field. Lamar coming on. He can't get it. And that's a base hit for Mazara. Back-to-back singles. And you'd see Elvis communicating back to Nomar. I can't see it.
Yeah, he had to wait, and understandably so. And it's a smart base running play by Elvis Andrus. You don't want to push it in this spot. You got a couple of hits to lead off the inning. And even the way Nomar came out of the box, he might have been surprised how quickly this ball sunk a little bit. You can even see it kind of going right to left. So there was some funky spin on that baseball, and Elvis made the right decision not to be over aggressive.
So a couple of base runners to start the 4th inning. And here's Beltré, who grounded out in the first. We'll take a strike from Romero. Beltré, 39 years old. Certainly has put up the numbers. Put him in that conversation among the all-time greats, certainly at third base. And still going strong. Playing good baseball, hitting .302 coming in. Rolls this one up the middle. That's a base hit, and that will get Andrus to the plate. Mazara got a good read. He'll get to third. Beltré drives in the first run of the game, and the Rangers lead it 1-0.
That was pretty impressive to watch Adrian Beltré get to that pitch up and in. And of course, we know right now with Romero, you're going to see some high velocity, which makes those inside pitches even that much more difficult to get to. Now, they were trying to go down and away, but look where the ball was, in off the plate. Look at the action on that pitch at pretty good velocity from Romero. And you see Adrian finding himself a nice hole up the middle, and it really sticks out. It's so important when you have the best of the best in the lineup here for the Rangers. And one of the issues for them this season on high velocities, they have struggled a little bit. Just a 201 average on anything that has been 95 or higher, but not that man right there. This season, 391.
Wow.
On pitches 95 and higher, and that'll go up right now because that pitch was 95 miles an hour. He's been really good. No surprise that Choo has been really good. 345 against 95 plus. Profar has been pretty good at 273. So overall, there's been some struggles as a team, but there are some individuals who have done really well against high velocities this year.
Ruge got a piece of that one. It's 1-1. Odor popped up in the second. Today batting 5th in the order. On Wednesday's game, Odor went 2 for 3, hit a home run, his second of the year. His average was at 226 coming into play today. And the reality is he's hitting closer to 280 now over roughly the last month. Last 23 games. 2-1 pitch and a little number back to the mound. Romero will go to second and they will force out Adrian Beltré, but they do allow the run to score. Mazara played it on the fielder's choice. It's 2-0.
It was a really nice play by Romero and a nice throw to second base. A lot of times when you have to make this kind of athletic play and your body gets thrown around a little bit, you see how he had to turn. That was a really nice job of good footwork to get turned around quick. A lot of guys will just take that out at first base, but Romero being aggressive and getting the lead runner, but he'll take it. Odor puts the ball in play, right? That's the conversation we've been having.
Yep.
A little bit more contact, put the ball in play, especially in situations where you have the opportunity to drive in a run.
So he gets an RBI. 2 runs are in. And now he'll draw a little attention over there at first. Joey Gallo popped up in the second inning and might not quite do it justice. There's a pop up down the third baseline in foul territory. I mean, way down there. Tyler Motter really covered some ground to get to it. Really nice play. Kind of that Willie Mays over the shoulder basket catch.
There's a lot of Willie Mays fans mad at you right now. Trying to put that in that category. No, but you're right. It was a difficult play. Did a nice job and went a long way to get it. Here it is right here. He was playing essentially not quite the standard shortstop position, but pretty close, about halfway in. Long way to go.
Bobby Wilson out for a quick conversation with Romero. He's fallen behind 2-0. It's one thing to keep track of. Bobby Wilson's talked about it a little bit. Romero has good stuff, really good stuff. There's a particular pitch he throws that when Wilson puts down the fingers, sometimes that pitch will cut, break like a small slider. Other times it'll sink and tail away from the hitter, or let's say have arm side run, if you will.
Oh, nice. Look at you with your scout speak.
And sometimes Wilson doesn't know what he's going to get. He puts down the finger and then closes his eyes and hopes.
That's not fun. I think there's been a little bit more communication on that and making sure that there's a better understanding, as long as the pitcher knows when he's doing it, right? If it's the same grip, but maybe the finger pressure dictates what kind of break you're going to get.
Gallo shoots this one high in the air out to left center field. It's a big yard, though. Rosario makes the catch. 2 away.
No, you're right. This place is really big, and it went through a couple of different phases. When it opened up in 2010, it had the lowest home run ballpark factor, right? They keep track of those things. This was the most difficult place to hit a home run. But last year, so they were 30th when they opened up. Last year they were 6th. And we've seen some changes this year. Right now they're 22nd. It's not really something you can take in small sample sizes. You almost want to see like 2 or 3 years data to really have an idea and get a feel, because it could change based on how's your pitching staff that year, how's the strength of your division, right? How many guys are hitting the ball out of the ballpark. But this has been an interesting one where it went from a place where it seemed like you were never going to be able to hit a home run to last year being the 6th easiest ballpark to hit a home run.
Pretty simple explanation, really. So concrete had time to fully set and dry out, and it changed everything.
That's right. That is the Jason Giambi theory that he laid out for this ballpark when it first opened. And he was the one that was laughing last. He was right. I guess he was right. I don't know if that's the reason, but things have changed here.
He said, you know, look, you make a new ballpark, and it takes a little while for all the moisture in the concrete to, I don't know what, evaporate or something. And then when it does that, then you'll see an increase in home runs. I'm thinking, that has to be the craziest thing I've ever heard. Oh, well.
So no home runs year one at the new Globe Life.
Right. But then it'll become a launching pad.
Yeah, hang tight. But now in that situation in Texas, maybe the concrete dries a little faster than it would here in Minnesota. So maybe it's the second half of the season that we'll really see the ball flying out of the yard.
Maybe something to that. You can bet we'll be tracking that closely. Door at first. 2-1 to Chirinos. Hits this ball sharply on the ground. Sliding stop by Adrianza. He hops up. Good throw to first. And he gets Chirinos. Really nice play. Adrianza, the slick fielding shortstop. But the Rangers get a pair. We go to the bottom of the fourth. It's 2-0. Fourth inning. We're talking about this ballpark. What about our ballpark and Texas Live? By the way, an announcement this week. August 9th through the 12th. The grand opening. Tony's will be in concert on August 9th. Look, the beekeepers showed up today, obviously. Make sure that all that's taken care of.
Well, they're not. Are they harvesting their own honey there? Is that what's happening?
Must be.
Texas Live. There's an idea right there. Tell me you wouldn't buy a Texas Live honey.
Oh, I would. Love locally sourced honey. It's the best one.
So I've heard just now from you.
All right, so
Also, August 9th, that's a definite. There'll be a concert August 9th. Pressure on that construction crew. Because I don't know if they've ever seen, but Dave Raymond doesn't get his toadies. Oh, my. Look out.
Well, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be pretty awesome. I cannot believe how quickly it's happening. And, of course, the new ballpark will open in 2020. That is just around the corner. Joe Mauer leading things off here in the fourth inning. Mauer, Rosario, and Dozier. Minor finds the corner there to make it 1-1. Mauer with the ground out in the first inning. Shoots this one to the left side out of play for strike two.
We talked about the lack of power a little bit with Joe Mauer, but how about just this Twins team overall? 13 home runs against left-handers this year. That is the worst in all of Major League Baseball. So obviously with the Rangers and what they have from the left side of Mike Minor going tonight, that's certainly an encouraging sign. That has been a little bit of an issue here for the Twins, who have hit 73 home runs, but 60 of those against right-handed pitching.
So far this year, Minor, he has allowed 12 home runs in his 72 innings coming into tonight. Most everything's been on the ground this evening, though, for Minnesota. Well, I guess at least the early outs were on the ground. They did have 3 consecutive fly ball outs. The payoff pitch. Mauer strikes out swinging. 3rd strikeout tonight for Minor.
That's a nice job by Mike Minor. That's not easy to do against Joe Mauer. This is a guy who's got that shorter swing, puts the ball in play. You see that good slider down and away. Coming into tonight, 60% of his 2-strike swings for Joe Mauer had been in play. 6 out of every 10. That's the 2nd best in Major League Baseball. This is a guy that shortens up with 2 strikes. He's not one of these guys, especially at this point in his career, where he's selling out with 2 strikes and still trying to take a huge swing. He puts the ball in play pretty often, but not there against the Mike Minor slider.
Eddie Rosario 0 for 1. And he's up there hacking in a hole. No balls and 2 strikes. He's 5th in the American League with a .320 average. Has 16 home runs. Among the top 10 in the league in doubles. He's had a huge first half to the season, but really last month and a half, 2 months have just been unusually good. Fouled away by Rosario.
Yeah, he's turning into a pretty special player. He's 2+. He's spent 4 different seasons now. This is his 4th in the big leagues. This has been his best year by far. 800 career OPS on base plus slugging, but this year 938. Big season. Had a good one last year. He had 27 home runs, hit 290, but he's been even better this year. 16 homers, and so that home run rate over the course of a full year, he'd certainly hit more than the 27 he hit a year ago, and he's picked up 30 points on his batting average.
Lifts this one into short left field. Coming on for it, Gallo. Going out for it, Beltré. It is Beltré who gets there. 2 out. Well, Carter Blood Care and the Texas Rangers are teaming up to save lives this year. Give on Monday, July 2nd from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Globe Life Park. Get a tour, t-shirts, 2 Rangers tickets. Sign up today by visiting carterbloodcare.org. Oh, a 2 away brings up Brian Dozier. Dozier has the only Twins hit tonight. In fact, has been the only base runner, and it was a brief stay on the bases for him. Tried to stretch that single into a double and was thrown out. 1-1. High pop-up. Foul ground first base side. Boy,
Oh,
Sereno's working around that bat.
stepped on it a couple times.
Jeez, that is no fun. But it's a 1-2-3 once again for Minor. We played 4 complete. It's 2-0. inning now. Rangers sending Ronald Guzman to lead it off. And we remind you, Wednesday, June 27th, final game of that series with the Padres. Another Texas Chili Company $1 hot dog night. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. So Guzman will start it off, then Delano to Shields, and back up top for Shin-Soo Choo. Rangers got the first and only runs in this game, scoring a pair last inning against Romero. That one a little bit low, goes to 2-0. Guzman fired out to left field his first time up. It's just the 10th start in Romero's career and 10th appearance for him. He's 23 years old. It was signed in November of 2011. Deals low here. It's 3-1.
They have some high hopes for this kid. Of course, they got Jose Barrios in this rotation, who was really good, and they're starting to envision the possibility of having both of these two, potentially 1 and 2, leading the rotation for a few years in Minnesota.
One of the things that they have not done well here over the years is adapt to the, I guess, the changing style of play, which is to say, so many teams now rely heavily on striking out opposing hitters. And the Twins do not. They are pretty much at the bottom of the barrel and have been year by year in terms of striking out guys. And this is the guy who is sort of the great hope for them. It's a bunt laid down first base side. Romero underhand to first. Shields will get a sacrifice for moving Guzman to second base, but there's one away.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you certainly want to make sure, say, when you're breaking camp or wherever you're bringing into your organization or how you're drafting and developing guys, that first and foremost, you just want them to be competitive and to be big leaguers you can have on your roster and feel confident. Now, the strikeouts are really nice to have, but if you got some guys with some better stuff but maybe don't generate the swings and misses or are more consistent, I mean, I'd still rather have the more consistent guys. But you're right. The other thing that works in their favor, though, is the ballpark.
For sure.
You know, and I think that's probably a fair assessment. When you're putting your team together, you don't need as much swing and miss as maybe you'd want to have in Philadelphia or Cincinnati, wherever it may be. Ground ball pitchers will work really well, not only here in Minnesota, but think about the division. Detroit's a pretty big ballpark. Kansas City's a really big ballpark. And those teams, even though they've put out some good lineups over the years, and you're playing your games at home, but then a bunch of those in that division.
Choo lifts this one high in the air, deep out to right field. Gone! Shin-Soo Choo reaches again. This time he'll touch all 4 of them. A 2-run homer, and he makes it 4-0 Rangers.
We're just talking about the Rangers in this lineup that are really good against high velocities, and you see that pitch right there. It's 93 miles an hour, and it's middle in. And you know, Choo seems to pick his spots when he sees a pitch that he likes. He's not afraid to get big. He'll put the ball in play, and he'll take his walks, and he'll hit line drives up the middle and the other way. But it seems like he's got a real knack for understanding when is the right time to kind of go for it based on what he sees out of the pitcher's hand. And middle in and slightly up is certainly a good time to do that. He just continues to roll.
Now a 35-game streak for Choo, and a streak with some good power in it as well. As we take a look at the numbers during this 35-game streak, 9 home runs and 19 RBIs. Andrews lays off a pitch outside, 1-2 the count. So his great run continues as the Rangers on top 4-0 here against the young right-hander Romero, and this one fouled away. Your point's a good one, though, about this ballparks in this division. Then you think, take this into consideration as well. Thad Levine would probably say, well, I have a great center fielder who currently is hurt, rehabbing, in Byron Buxton. Not as good a defensive first baseman as there is in Mauer at the moment. Swinging and a miss, and Andrews strikes out. That is just the third strikeout tonight for Romero. We send it down to Leslie McCaslin.
Well, guys, if you talk to Choo about the way he's hitting the ball lately, or Jeff Bannister, it's interesting that they both point back to that series at Chicago against the White Sox. I said, what happened there? You know, that was about 6 weeks ago. And basically, Bannister said they had a conversation with the hitting coaches and an internal scout. And they just wanted Choo to get back to his skill sets, getting on base, line drives, and then adding the walks, getting back to who he is. He said it was also a time when they really needed someone to step up at the top of the lineup, and Choo has definitely done that.
Oh, he absolutely has. And it's interesting, too. You think about it as you get older, you feel like you know everything about your swing and your game and the way that you want to approach major league pitching. But I think we have seen some older, wiser players, too, kind of understand that some opinions from the outside. Not that you wouldn't listen to your coaches. Of course you would. But even the idea of maybe talking to internal scouts, different information that we have. And sometimes you start doing some things and your approach changes and you may not realize it as much. And those little bits of information can certainly help. And they certainly seem like they have helped Choo.
Well, 0-2 the count to Mazara. He fights off another one. Boy, they just continue to foul off pitches against Romero, whose pitch count is bumping right up on 90.
You know, just to kind of finish up your point, which I thought was a really good one. Okay, if you're not going to strike guys out, well, you better be able to play defense. That is extremely important. I would say the other part of that has to happen, that has to be part of the equation. You can't walk hitters either, right? If you're not going to strike guys out, that's fine, but you better be able to throw strikes. You better be able to catch the ball.
Mazara strikes out. That will end the inning, but an inning highlighted by Shin-Soo Choo. His on-base streak continues, but he flexes the muscles again. A 2-run blast, and it's 4-0 Rangers. Four nothing Rangers on top as we go to the bottom of the fifth inning. Robbie Grossman steps in and he takes strike one. Mike Minor, it's not a perfect game, not a no-hitter, but he has faced the minimum through 4 innings.
And not only has he faced the minimum, but he's just thrown his 44th pitch here in the 5th inning, and so he has been incredibly economical. And the Twins have been a good partner. They have been swinging, putting the ball in play, but not a lot of hard contact.
Well, our Kubota power stats. Rangers pitchers just 12 walks during this 5-game winning streak. That's the 4th fewest in baseball during this stretch. A little bit in 2-2.
Yeah, they really have been getting there. That has been a goal for a while now here with this Ranger staff, going back to last year and trying to make improvements in that area. And they've been on a good run. They've been pretty good with it this year in general, but certainly on a good run as of late. And Benny talked about it before the game. It was brought up in the manager's meeting, and not only are the pitchers doing a nice job with their walk rate, but so are the hitters. Done a really good job, and that's really important. And I thought Benny made a really interesting point, how he felt like those two things work together. Right, you're throwing a lot of strikes on the pitching mound. As you're putting the ball in play, you're keeping your offense sharp. Excuse me, your defense sharp.
But not your broadcast. Just a little bouncer to third.
and you're keeping them off the field, right? Quick innings, keeping them into it. And I thought it was kind of, I never really thought about it that way. You've certainly always talked about your offense and your defense, because they'll get tired. You're out there and you're walking guys like crazy, and then maybe they get a little flat foot, and all of a sudden they make an error. But what kind of effect does it have on that offensive? Those strikes keep him in the game, and he feels like you're going to get better offensive production as well.
And it makes sense too, right? If you're walking a lot of guys, probably scoring a few more runs, which puts more pressure on your hitters and might lead to maybe a less healthy thought process, right? I gotta do something here. I gotta get us back in this, versus just patiently watching and working the count. The Rangers have done that wonderfully as a group. 0-2 the count to Adrianza. The Rangers lead the American League in walks this year as an offense. They lead all of Major League Baseball with 85 walks in June. Now, the hitters have certainly worked the count well. Adrianza struck out in the second inning, one of 3 strikeout victims tonight for Mike Minor. Takes just a little bit off the plate. It's 2-2.
About 94 miles an hour from Mike Minor. Fastball looks good. It's been 92 to 96 so far tonight. Now, last year as a reliever, his fastball averaged right around 95 miles an hour. And this year so far back in the rotation, it's been down about 3 miles an hour, but to be expected. But this game, he looks strong.
Well, another chance to field his position. Throws out Adrianza, and there are 2 gone. Time for a Chevy game break. Send it back once again to Rick Renner. Thanks, Rick. 2 away. Here is Taylor Motter. He takes one high for a ball. Minor finds the corner. 1-1. You look at the standings now in the AL West. Boy, Seattle had such a tough time with New York. Swept in that series. Now 3.5 back. Angels hanging around a little bit though. And Oakland, a little hat tip to the Oakland A's. 3 games
fair.
over 500. What a tough division it has been this year. Two and 1 to Motter. Fouls this one back our direction.
But I mentioned that about the velocity, and that's not a knock on Mike Minor. We say that the velocity is down 3 miles an hour. I mean, that is absolutely something that you would expect. What happened with him last year was almost of a surprise. Yes, you expect velocity to go up when a starter goes into the bullpen, but of course he was coming off of the shoulder issues that he had, and so you weren't sure that wasn't going to be a guarantee. So that velocity was a nice surprise.
This ball lifted high in the air, deep out to right field. Mazara goes back, and he's able to get to it. Motter put a charge in it, but didn't quite get all of it. And it's a scoreless bottom of the 5th through 5. Rangers lead 4-0. World Cup action continues tomorrow, 6 a.m. on Fox. Belgium versus Tunisia, our first game. Korea, Mexico, and then it's Germany and Sweden at noon tomorrow. Tomorrow, Fox or the Fox Sports Go app. Great World Cup action so far.
How'd your country do? What'd you have, Norway?
Jeez, you are the worst.
Right?
I had Sweden.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
I am the worst. I'm not going to argue with you there. I'm just upset Polska lost 2-1 their first match.
But still plenty of time.
Yep.
The interesting story, probably Argentina backs up against the wall now. Real tough start for them. And Messi as Beltré gets ahead 2-0. Beltré 1 for 2 tonight, had the RBI single in the 4th inning. Ooh, hits this ball hard out to left field. Rosario started in, goes back, and makes the catch. Time for a word from our friends at Southwest Kia.
At Southwest Kia, we've made car buying easy. $250 down delivers, monthly payments $250 a month or less. SouthwestKia.com.
1 out. How about that?
Chance of Eddie.
Eddie made the big catch. They love him. It's the 3rd catch he's made, but the first time we've heard it. Odor now, and he will take inside. Rugi 0 for 2, but has an RBI. Reached on a fielder's choice in the 4th inning. Breaking ball. That one hits the corner. Nice pitch. 1-1.
So I thought it was ironic yesterday. We spent a little time out on the golf course, and you had a golf ball with the number 44 on it, and I brought up how it's a popular number at Syracuse. A lot of athletes, right? Jim Brown, and then Mike Dressman had a ball that had number 77 on it. And he said, "Well, who wears number 77?" And I was like, "That's a good question. I don't know, a lineman somewhere along the way." And here we are.
Yep.
There's your number 77.
Yep. I would have never guessed that we would have stumbled on our number 77 in this series.
I'm with you.
And here we are in the opener.
77 Titleist and a 77 big leaguer.
Fouled back. And just short of 77 lost balls the other day. Almost got there. Rangers got 2 runs in the 4th, 2 runs in the 5th. And number 77, this is way outside. It's 2-2.
I was in the 70s for spring training. That's not uncommon. 71. Like, oh, okay, yeah, that's right. But not as highly thought of as when I was an amateur.
So I mean, guys know it, right?
Yeah, you do. I mean, especially now, there's that trend now where guys don't care as nearly as much.
Clearly.
I think younger guys, like, they're like, oh, a little embarrassed by the fact that they would have a high number. But Logan Morrison wears number 99 here.
High fly ball down the left field line, and that one tracked down by Rosario. 2 away. That'll get him chanting again. Maybe.
You would assume. I just don't know if it's a thing. Oh, they got it on the board too, so that helps. Really nice play, though, is Rosario showing off the range and going into the corner, battling with the wall right there. That's not easy in the corner. Nice play.
Two out, and it brings up Joey Gallo. And another shift by an opposing defense. Gallo hammers this ball center field. Lamar going back, and he will make the catch well in front of that 4-11 sign. And it ends the inning. Boys, the ball's well hit, but nothing to show for it. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning, 4-0. nothing. We start looking ahead to the next homestand. Yeah, the Astros coming to town July 3rd and 4th. Post-game fireworks both nights. It's the last Astros visit to Arlington this season. Your tickets are available at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972 Rangers.
So there's also supposed to be post-game fireworks here tonight. Think they're getting worried?
It won't be dark enough?
I mean, game is nice pace to it. Leave it at that. But here we are at the bottom of the 6th inning. Mike Minor only has 59 pitches. He's kind of cruising along. May have to wait a little while.
1-1 to Max Kepler. And again, Minor has faced the minimum so far. Kepler, Lamar, Bobby Wilson in the 6th inning. This one lined into left field. That's a base hit. Kepler rounds first. He's going to go for 2. And he'll have it easily. A leadoff double in the 6th inning.
Take a look at Max Kepler here. Pretty good pitch, a little elevated, but on the corner from Mike Minor. You see this ball line into left field and got through that gap quickly. Joey Gallo couldn't get to it in time. That ball was moving pretty quick, and you think instant double for Kepler, but also got to keep an eye on him because he can run pretty well, as you saw him take an aggressive turn around second base.
So man in scoring position for Ryan Lamar. And he takes upstairs. Ball 1. No relation to Hedy Lamar.
Sure.
Ryan, I'm almost certain. Mississippi. Lamar 0 for 1, flied out in the 3rd inning. A little bit tight. No, catches a corner. 1-1. Sorry, Lamar from Michigan, former Cincinnati Red, Boston Red Sox.
They don't teach you state abbreviations at Stanford.
No. What is I'm looking at Jackson MI. I'm like, oh, Mississippi.
Yes, I love it.
Been there. Lovely. Oh man, gets a little humid there in the summers. Or Jackson, Michigan, about which I know nothing.
Almost no humidity in the summer.
It's funny, he's played for 3 major league teams other than the Twins prior to this year, and a total of 29 games. That's kind of cool. His major league team per game ratio has to lead Major League Baseball. 2-2.
So he was actually born in Royal Oak, Michigan, which is of interest to me.
Okay.
Because my daughter was born in Royal Oak, Michigan.
Really?
Yes.
How's the humidity in the summer?
Pretty nice. She was born in August, right outside of Detroit. Beautiful summers in Michigan.
Two inside, and it's full count.
I caught him on the foot, I think. He thinks he did. Now, I don't know if it was a bad sales job or if he just was like, oh yeah, they saw that for sure, right? Just assumed. I can't tell which one it is. We're going to find out here, though. Tough to see there.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt that it hit him. So is he asking for help there? He's asking for Molitor or somebody to challenge that, and they're like, oh, it's just hit.
Yeah. Want to see you swing it.
It's
a little discouraging. The reaction was it hit me, and hey, they didn't call it, pointing in. No sale.
So Minor checks second, the 3-2 pitch, and it's fouled back. Now this next pitch, I want you to watch where Bobby Wilson is, the on-deck hitter. And tell me if he is closer to home plate than Adrian Beltré was last year when Beltré.
It's a fair point. And listen, I wouldn't have a problem even with maybe Mike Minor, Robinson Chirinos, or Jeff Bannister saying something. Because what he's doing right now is he's getting a pretty good look at Mike Minor's pitches, and so you can track a little bit better. That's why those circles are there. It's not for literally because you're worried about every safety necessarily. There's actually a strategic component to it as well.
And it holds stuff.
And it holds stuff. But
Man.
that's a fair point.
He's in a position, he's like a second catcher.
You're also in a little bit of a dangerous spot if you that foul ball coming off with the right-handed batter up there. He's obviously not concerned. I would be.
Yeah, I would be so concerned. There is no reaction time. I don't know. That can't be much more than 45 feet, 50 feet.
Max, yeah.
Well, Max is at second. That's Kepler.
Oh, my bad.
Here's a 3-2 to Lamar. And up into the stands.
I wonder if Mike Minor even notices that at all, if it bothers him. I think about a guy like Madison Bumgarner. We showed him like that seemed like that would really irritate him.
Yeah, well,
it seems a little irritable in general when he's on the mound.
Would you?
I don't even know if I would notice, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty bad at like noticing way too many things in general instead of just kind of getting locked in on one. Especially when you're pitching, you're only supposed to be paying attention to the glove. Or so I heard. That's a way to be successful. I don't know if I would notice that, to be honest with you.
3-2 again. That one's inside. So Lamar draws the walk. A double and a walk here to begin this sixth inning. Well, this is the opening game of this series, and after this series we head home. We take a look at the Progressive upcoming schedule. Day game tomorrow, day game Sunday here in Minneapolis. But then it's the Padres, White Sox, and Astros at home with decent-sized homestand. Then we go to Michigan, where I understand the summers are
beautiful,
delightful.
Late, sun goes down late.
Right.
It's sometimes as late as 10 o'clock at peak summertime.
Well, a mound visit as Minor got a word of encouragement from just about all the infielders, as well as Robinson Chirinos. And here is the former Ranger, Bobby Wilson. 2 men on, nobody out. Wilson played with the Rangers 2015 and 16, played 73 games in a Rangers uniform, hit .239. And he takes just off the plate, ball one. Wilson struck out in the third inning, 0 for 1 tonight. And it has not been easy for him at the plate this year, just a 140 average coming in. Inside, that one gets away, and both runners will advance. No, the throw goes down to second base. I don't know what happened to Lamar, but he is out of the baseline and out.
That was an unbelievable play by Robinson Chirinos. You don't even think about that trail runner necessarily. What a heads-up play by Robbie in that spot. We had a really good look at it here, but we're above everything, and you can see that Lamar hesitated going, and that's why the opportunity was there. Well, first you're going to see this pitch get away a little bit. He looks up and figures third, and then look at him look right up at second base, almost if he had an instinct that maybe Lamar would not go right away. That was a great play by Robinson Chirinos. Wow.
So it's a wild pitch, I would presume, and then the
I don't know. That might go either way. It was in the air. It's the only thing. It was borderline for me on whether or not that would be a wild pitch or a pass ball. Because it didn't hit the ground, did it? I don't think it did in the air. I don't know.
Let's take another look.
There we go.
Oh.
Or maybe a miscommunication based on the glove path there. I don't know. My guess is
that's a little more pass ballish right there. Putout goes 2 to 4 to 3. Wilson takes a fastball for a strike. 3-1 the count.
Still no official word. They have to rule it something.
And Wilson ties into this one, but sends it foul. Full count. Talking about Wilson's time with the Rangers in those 73 games, a 239 average, but he had some big hits, big home runs. Grand slam in Detroit. This would have been a couple of years ago. 3-2. Hits this ball hard, but foul.
So I didn't hear any announcement, but the box score says pass ball.
Well, that works for me.
I think that's probably official. I doubt they made it up.
Another 3-2 pitch. And again, a foul ball. There might be more pitches in this at bat here to Bobby Wilson than in a handful of the individual innings that Minor has thrown tonight. Right? I mean, this has got to be at least 7 pitches in this at bat, and he had, I know for a fact, he had 1 7-pitch inning. Working the double and the walk, and Minor's doing about half of his evening's work right here in this 6th inning. That one a little bit low, ball 4, so another walk in the inning. And they're on the corner still, just the 1 out. And our Southwest bullpen live look. Alex Claudio getting ready out there. Looks like he's doing it with some purpose. So see what the Rangers think about doing here. You got back-to-back lefties coming up in the moment here. Joe Mauer, who is 0 for 2.
So in an ideal world, you'd have Alex Claudio come in. This is a good situation. Now, I'm not saying Mike Minor is done, but you get a slower runner in Joe Mauer. You get the excellent ground ball rate of Alex Claudio, who's also very good against lefties, but just his ability to get you that ground ball, gets you the double play. Mike Minor's got 6 double plays turned this year, but his overall ground ball rate is 38%, about 6 or 7 points below league average. He's been more of a fly ball pitcher this year. But he's also handled Joe Mauer very well.
Jumps out of him here, 0-1. Mauer recently activated off the disabled list about a week ago. Missed about a month with a neck strain and concussion-like symptoms. Takes a strike to count 0-2. And you can see him asking Adrian Johnson, a little low.
That was a good pitch. I thought it was right on the corner, and so far in this at-bat, a couple of really well-located pitches. And in the previous at-bat to Joe Mauer, when he struck out back in the 4th inning, I thought Mike Minor did a nice job of working the corners.
0-2.
And that's something Mike Minor has been really good at. And even though he's got some high-powered stuff, check this out. This is percentage of pitches that are thrown to the edge of the zone. So we have the Fox tracks up there, and you can kind of see the line. Well, nearly 43% of Mike Minor's pitches have been around those edges, and that is the 5th best in Major League Baseball. I would think that Bartolo would be up there on that list.
Near
but I
miss
guess
there.
the days that he's not on gets away from him a little bit. But Mike Minor's been really good. And what happens when you're that kind of pitcher is you earn yourself some strikes. I know people say, wait, a strike's a strike is a strike, right? Regardless. No, the reality is, if you're around the edges, just on, just off, there's a good chance that you may get a call or 2 in your favor because of it. Umpires have a tendency to fall into that rhythm a little bit with a pitcher.
Big 2-2 pitch to Mauer, right? He fouls it away. Well, a local superstar here, Mauer. Played his high school ball here and was all everything. Became a Twin, and a great one at that. All the All-Star appearances, the MVP in a playoff season, 3 batting titles. And you mentioned it earlier, the final year of his long 8-year contract here. He's changed positions from catcher now to first baseman. He's just as brilliant defensively at first as he was behind the plate. People wonder, well, will he sign for more? Will he keep playing? Would he ever play in another unit? There's no way he will ever play for another team. I mean, he and his wife have twins. This guy is a Twin through and through. That's commitment. The 2-2 pitch out to left field. Hanging up there a little bit. Gallo can't get to it. Kepler's in. Wilson trying for third. He'll be in. RBI double for Mauer. Gets the Twins on the board. It's a 4-1 game.
Yeah, it looked like this ball might have caught Joey Gallo off guard. It continued to carry. Now, it was a tough play up against the wall, but you kind of watched him tracking that a little bit. It looked like he might have had a beat on it and just kept going and going. Right there, looks like he has it. And then take a little bit more carry than Joey expected as the wall creeped up on him a little bit. And that's the value of contact. We mentioned that earlier with Joe Mauer and how good he is at putting 2-strike balls in play, but not just putting them in play, but that one right there, driving it with a little bit of authority.
Doug Brocail out there now just to check in with Minor. Minor had faced the minimum through 5 innings. Was pitching this thing in a rocking chair, and then all of a sudden double, walk, double. Still works with a 3-run lead, but the potential tying run now. Eddie Rosario comes to the plate. Rosario on the top of the inning made a couple of very nice defensive plays. Today, 0 for 2. But he is one of the better hitters right now in the American League. So Beltré is in on the edge of the grass at third. Now backs up a little bit. Everybody else has backed up. The first pitch a little low to Rosario.
I mentioned how we've seen Mike Minor get a little bit stronger, deeper, especially in his last start. And that's something he's getting tested with right now, 3rd time through the order. 262 batting average against Minor, but the OPS just 672. That has been the best for him as far as times through the order. Now on base plus slugging, first time through this year has been 858, second time 938. A pretty significant drop. 3rd time through the order, 672. That's well below league average. Or I could say, in Mike Minor's case, above average. He's been above, the hitters have been below.
He's better than the other guys.
That's a much better way to phrase it.
But he's got his back up against the wall a little bit here in this 6th inning, leading 4-1 though. A foul ball by Rosario, 1-2. We've talked about how Rosario's numbers are much improved and coming off the good year last year, etc. You start looking over the last couple of seasons why maybe those numbers have changed a little bit. Man, he used to be just a free swinger. He was like bottom 5 in the league his first 2 years, swinging anything out of the zone, and he has cut that back dramatically. Contact's up quite a bit as a result. There's a pitch he chased right there, but that's become more and more rare for Rosario.
And also, you get deeper in the counts and you're down 1-2, certainly want to foul off anything that is close. You're also in a situation where you got a couple of runners in scoring position. And Rosario's been excellent in these spots, 324. And I think you find that the hitters that are good in those spots are not afraid to expand the zone if they feel like they can get to a ball and get those runs in.
Goes up after this one, pops it up back of second base. This is a gift. Odor right there for it. And there are 2 away. Well, that's a break.
So check this out. Workload here for Mike Minor is something we have talked about. But how about the innings? Of course, the games aren't going to match up. This is a starter now as opposed to being in the bullpen. But he just passed his innings total from a year ago, 77 2/3 in his 65 games. And here he is now 78 innings. And he certainly expects to throw a lot more this year. But that is a question and part of the equation here with Mike Minor is how many more? You know, where do you feel comfortable? What's the right number? And everyone's got their formula and percentages for when guys have been hurt or weren't starters. And this will be interesting to watch with Mike Minor.
That ball laced foul by Dozier. That just missed being a 2-run double or worse. Minor trying to get through this 6th inning with just the 1 run allowed. Wilson at third, Maurer at second. And there's a strike. It's 0-2 to Dozier.
Right on the edge again. We just talked about that. Mike Minor's ability to pitch on the corners and do it so well. 5th best in Major League Baseball right now. And you're going to get a better example of that than that 4-seam fastball at 94 miles an hour. Velocity is holding very well tonight for Mike Minor.
Well, this will be his 93rd pitch of the night. And he gets Dozier to pop up. Foul ground, first base side. Guzman is there. Yeah. A double catch. And the inning is done. Twins get a run, but they leave 2 in scoring position. We go to the 7th. All is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. Yeah, it's pretty nice here in Minneapolis. Game time temperature today was 81 degrees. And it just gets more and more comfortable as the evening wears on. Beautiful big sky up here. And we go to the 7th inning. Rangers leading it 4-1. Addison Reed is the new pitcher for the Twins, and he will see the bottom third of the order.
You see Reed here, game number 34 for him. 31 strikeouts to 11 walks. Pretty good ratio. That opponent's batting average up a little bit. You see the repertoire fastball slider for the right-hander. He's got that crossfire delivery. Almost has a little Jake Diekman in him from the right side as far as body type, but then also the way that he delivers his pitches. That crossfire. Makes it pretty tough on righties who are hitting just .235 against him this year. He doesn't have quite the arm that Jake Deacon has, but here's a good look at it. And what's interesting, so he goes across his body to kind of create some deception, but he does it from the first base side of the pitching rubber. Imagine if he was on the third base side. Everyone's got to go where they're comfortable. And a lot of times you pick what side of the rubber you stand on based on your repertoire, what pitches you throw, but that's the spot that he is most comfortable with. Imagine if he was on the other side. And if you're a right-handed hitter with that same delivery, that ball would be starting well behind your back and then come across into the strike zone.
It seems like almost a textbook thing you would want to do or be asked to do.
But you know what's funny? You watch some sidearm pitchers. Let's say take a sidearm lefty as an example. You would just assume that he'd be all the way on the first base side. It's not always the case. Some guys actually go the other way.
This one out to the gap in right center. Base hit for Chirinos to open the 7th inning.
That's a really good approach by Robinson Chirinos as we're talking about Reed and how tough he is on righties and that crossfire delivery. If you're trying to pull him, you're going to pull off a lot of pitches. And here's a ball that's really well located down and away. And look at Robbie just stay on that and drive it really well to right center field. That is excellent.
So Chirinos on. Here is Guzman, who scored a run. He walked last inning and he takes strike 1.
So what dictates that, real quick to kind of finish it up, I think of a guy like Brad Ziegler with the Miami Marlins. He throws an absurd amount of fastballs, might be 70%, whatever it is. And so because he's throwing all those sinkers, he actually prefers to be on the first base side, so he creates some angle to those righties and the ball just dives in, and it's really difficult to hit when he's on. But if you're a lefty who's throwing a ton of breaking balls, you might want to be on the first base side.
Did you give a lot of thought to where you wanted to be on the rubber when you
later in my career? I stood in the middle for the most part, but then as I was messing around with sidearm toward the end, kind of go back and forth, and I actually had a long back and forth with a pitch coach who wanted to be on the third base side as the left-handed sidearmer. But I think some of the best feedback you can get in general is to talk to hitters. I would always talk to the left-handed hitters that I played with and ask them about the toughest lefties they faced and what they liked and didn't like, and that's going to make you a better pitcher. And I remember talking at that time to a left-handed hitter about pitching on a third base side of the rubber as a sidearm lefty. And he said, yeah, I'd really appreciate it if you do me that favor. Because if you're on the third base side, I'm going to see your breaking ball so much better than if you're going to stand on the first base side as a left-handed hitter. And I think that's where you get your best feedback.
Well, Reed behind Guzman here, 3-1. Fouls this one away. Guzman does. It's a full count. Yeah, that's interesting. As a hitter, I would tell you, well, what you probably need to do is get more of the plate. Aim for the center of the plate and see how that works.
Take a little off your four seam and throw it right down the middle.
Runner goes. Guzman shoots it foul.
Reed is a really good example of a guy that has a lot of value for me in your bullpen. Just signed a 2-year deal to come over here with the Minnesota Twins, but a guy who has been a closer in the past, right? We have that conversation a lot. He closed with the White Sox, closed with the Diamondbacks, and even had some saves last year. Now he's not closing this year, but you take a guy who has had that experience and you put him in a setup role, and to me that just creates a lot of value in your bullpen.
Ball 4, so first 2 men on here against Reed. Hey, Sunday, July 1st, 2:05 game, Rangers and White Sox. First 15,000 adults and 2,500 kids get a free Rangers Raglan tee, compliments of Hill Tea. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. The only time the White Sox come through town this year. And a great giveaway as well. First 2 men on, and DeShields showing bunt. Lano laid down a sacrifice in the 5th inning, grounded out in the 3rd. Well, Addison Reed has never allowed a run to the Rangers. 9 career appearances, 10 scoreless innings. There's a bunt, first baseline. It is foul, and it's 1-1.
You love when Delino DeShields gets these opportunities. He's got a runner on, in this case 2 runners on in front of him and nobody out, because that bunt really can work one of 2 ways for him. You get it down, you take a shot, worst case it's a sack, you push the runners up. But with that speed, there's always that opportunity. He turns it into a hit or puts some pressure on the defense. They throw a ball away trying to get him out, and somebody comes around to score. The last bunt came off the bat really well. He caught it off the end. He deadened it really nicely. This went a little bit foul.
Shows bunt again, drops it third base side. Motter charges, bare hands, throws, not in time. And a beautiful bunt single by DeShields loads him up.
That was it right there. It was a beautiful bunt by Delino, and looked like this play was going to be close. Then he turns on the Jets and he ends up beating this thing out. Now he does a really good job as far as pushing this thing to third base after taking a shot at the first base line, and so you know both guys are going to advance pretty easily, and that was a really close play, and the Twins seem like they're considering, and yes, they are going to ask for a replay. Let's see right here, get you a good look. Yeah, you know what might get him there? The cylinder. Right, remember when we first had replay, the ball had to hit the back of the glove. Right. If that were still the rule, I would say he's safe, but that rule changed. Now it just has to be the baseball in the cylinder of the glove, so actually not touching the glove yet, which is weird to me. I feel like it should just be once you actually catch it, not when it's sitting in your glove, not touching your glove yet. That's when it now counts as a catch, I guess you could say. And that might hurt him.
It's like the Matrix.
Yeah. Seems like you're just doing a lot of guessing.
Stop time and see where the bullet is midair. And if it's hovering inside where the glove would basically be, where it would close, and then they consider it a catch. And I'm with you. I think this one, I'm surprised, because the first replay I saw, I thought, no, I think he might have beaten that. But boy, when you split the hairs with that kind of precision, and which they're doing right now back in New York, I think it is going to come back as out.
We'll see. We'll see right now.
Oh boy. Yep. So Chirino still at third, Guzman at second base. Challenge, a good one by Paul Molitor. And it's a 5-3 sacrifice bunt.
Either way, productive at bat for Delino. Yes, he wants the hit, but at the same time, that's a good job.
So now Choo, he receives the intentional walk as they send him to first base. They don't even bother messing with him, and I get it. So they're loaded up for Elvis Andrus. Elvis tonight 1 for 2 with a walk. Infield at double play depth with 1 out. That means Adrianza and Dozier in a step and a half or so up the middle. That one line to second. What a catch! And the double play. Whoa, horse. Dozier, I don't know how he got it, but I can certainly never explain his ability to flip that in time to get Guzman.
Yeah, Jeff Bannister is out on the top step right now, and they may review this. We'll see, but that was a pretty tremendous play. I don't know, that left hand might have got in there. That is really, really close.
Rangers taking a look at it, and they are going to challenge it. What an incredible play by Dozier.
That was unbelievable. I mean, that was full extension, and he got rid of that ball pretty quickly. And I love these scenes right now. So everyone came off the field, with the exception of, is that Rosario in left field? So Rosario's in left field by himself. I think you have Reed and Wilson standing at home plate, and that's it. The other 6 guys took it to the dugout. They're pretty confident. All the Rangers runners are still out on the bases. And now Ronald Guzman's starting to walk back a little bit as if he's making the call. Obviously, he can't influence any umpires, or a few states away. And a good time to get a little re-app on the chapstick.
Well, you could, you know, as a player, of course, you can always go have a conversation, maybe grab a drink or something like that.
Do you think small talk's frowned upon in these situations? Well, for the three of them right there?
No, well, they're not doing anything. They're just listening. Well, the call stands. That is some kind of double play. Wow. Guzman not happy with it. The inning is over. Rangers had it loaded, but can't get anything from it. They lead 4-1.
Game summary, and it was a very good night for Mike Minor. We'll take a look at some of the work that he has done tonight against these Minnesota Twins, really cruising along through most of the game, especially through the first 5. But then in the 6th inning, got himself into a little bit of trouble, but did a nice job of working out of it. You see a couple of pop-ups there. Nice play by Ronald Guzman, and there it is. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run for Mike Minor. A couple of walks and 3 strikeouts. Now 93 pitches looks like it's pretty high, but he really had kept that pitch count in check until that last inning. The Twins made him work a little bit there in the 6th, but a very nice outing for Mike Minor. It's going to be it for him, and that means Chris Martin, who was just recently activated off the DL, as recently as today, because that's when he came off the DL, in here now for the Rangers. 95-mile-an-hour fastball, 84 on the curve, 91 on that cutter, and the changeup, which he doesn't use very often, has been averaging 87 miles per hour.
Yeah, Ricky Rodriguez was optioned out yesterday during the off day, and that was the only move made. And we're all left wondering on a day where, you know, not really doing any team functions as such, well, what will the corresponding move be? And then we remembered, well, probably Chris Martin will be activated. That did not happen until about 3:30 this afternoon. But in any case, he's back, and the Arlington native in the ball game here to face Robbie Grossman, Larry Adrianza, and Taylor Motter. Four to 1, Rangers on top. Good fastball there. Evens the count of the ball on a strike.
And the 4-seamer for Chris Martin has been very good this year. 7 strikeouts recorded on the 4-seamer. That's more than any other pitch. The cutter comes in next. 6 of his strikeouts have come on the cutter, and just a .222 batting average against his 4-seam fastball this year.
He was on the disabled list for the 10 days with the right calf strain. That was quite an interesting situation. You might remember there was a game in Los Angeles against the Dodgers where Chirinos was run over at the plate by Matt Kemp. Both benches and bullpens emptied. Everybody got together at the plate to push and shove a little bit. Martin injured himself getting out of the bullpen and coming in for the fracas. A 2-1 pitch. High fly, center field. The Shields though with lots of room. One away.
Yeah, it was a really odd injury and something you don't want to see. It does happen every once in a while when bench is clear. Something silly happens. Now, of course, you always worry about guys getting a little physical with each other as well, and a player getting hurt that way. But it was an unusual one, but a short trip to the DL for Chris Martin, and right back at it.
So he gets the first man he faces, and here is Harry Adrianza. Strikeout and a little bouncer back to the mound for him. Adrianza 248 average, coming in with 3 home runs. Now he's been the everyday shortstop by and large. Not every day, but he has been the primary shortstop. Young prospect with his team coming up, and Jorge Polanco was the guy that they were, you know, excited about last year, and guy had been putting up good numbers, playing a decent shortstop, but he's been serving an 80-game suspension handed down by Major League Baseball. And while he has been doing that, Adrianza has gotten the opportunity to get some regular playing time.
It's one of those things that you don't want to see a teammate go through, just like you don't want to see a teammate get hurt. But at the same time, things happen in this game. You take advantage of those opportunities whenever you can get them. Getting regular time in the big league certainly is a difficult thing to come by. Get a surprise stretch of playing time because of something like a suspension or an injury, whatever it may be. Just going to move on and do your best to make it a little bit more difficult on your club when that player comes back, to say, you know what, we may need this guy a little bit more in our lineup.
He started 48 of the last 52 games at shortstop, and he swings and misses here. It's 2-2. Eduardo Escobar has a handful of starts as well, but primarily Adrianza. Now he has a little bit of trouble with right-handed pitching, which is kind of strange. I figure you'd see a lot more righties over the years as a switch hitter than you would lefties, just by the nature of how many more righties there are in baseball. But he hits .219 against right-handed pitching. He hits .319 against lefties. Martin gets him to foul this one away. It stays 2-2. All the action tonight for the Twins came in the 6th inning. The final frame for Mike Minor. Double, a couple of walks, another double. But then 2 pop-outs into that threat. Minor, a terrific job getting out of that inning without any further damage done. Two-two pitch, and that is strike 3 called. Adrianza down looking. 2 away.
It's a good call. This pitch was really close, right on the corner, but a little cutter. Watch the late action here. And there it is. That is pretty well placed. Now Fox Tracks had it just off the plate, but Adrian Johnson had it on the corner, and Adrianza not liking that. That's a good view of it right there, where you can see it catching a little bit of the corner.
Taylor Motter now 0 for 2. Sent one to center field, one to right field tonight. You see the season numbers there for Motter. He was recalled about a week ago from AAA Rochester. Claimed off waivers in late May from Seattle. and sent straight to AAA. Wasn't tearing it up for the Red Wings either. Played 8 games earlier this season for Seattle. Was 4 for 15 with a home run. Versatile guy though, plays all over the diamond. Way out there, 2-1.
So we were talking about Mike Minor and kind of cruising along and facing the minimum, and then of course that inning went a little bit long in the 6th, but still only 3 hitters over the minimum for Rangers pitching tonight here in the 7th inning.
Yeah,
done a really nice job.
fouled away, 2-2.
Kind of an interesting lineup too, the way that it is constructed right now here for the Twins. But we're looking at 3, 4, 5 that Chris Martin has to take on. But look at the top of the lineup: Mauer, Rosario, and Dozier. I'd say 1, 2, 3. A little bit more of a task to try to get through. I'd say 4, 5, 6. Talk about the heart of the order and kind of just sliding your best hitters up. And the idea of Rosario hitting second, and the way this hopefully potentially will line up for the Rangers, unless they add some more runs. But whether it's Claudio or Diekman or Tony Barnett to throw the 8th, assuming Chris Martin gets through this, and then could be Kella facing. He's looking a little bit far ahead, but the top of the order. But that actually would be the biggest challenge here, I think, based on the way that things are constructed here for Paul Molitor's club.
I'm just getting a quick glance there at the monitor there. Dan Gladden came to the booth a little earlier to interview you.
Yep.
Wow, there's a little something right there, isn't there?
Yeah, his hair's not as long.
No.
I was leaning toward Hanson a little bit. Seriously, that song Doo-Wop gets in my head. Is that what it was called? Right.
I mean, I know the song. I'm familiar with the song.
I know you still have the
bop.
Oh, sorry. I knew you had the poster. Don't say you're told. You knew that. You still have the poster in the back of your door.
The Hanson, you said.
Is that right? Did I have that wrong too?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, we'll check with Doug Foster in the truck. He's our resident expert on these things. Or Leslie. Those two occasionally fight over artists.
I love the pop music.
Little roller up the middle, off the mound. Andrews, though, is right there and throws out Motter to complete a 1-2-3, bottom of the 7th. We go to the 8th inning. Nomar Mazara will lead things off for the Rangers when we come back. Beltré and Odor do as well. 8th inning here. Nomar Mazara will lead things off for the Rangers. He has Beltré and Odor against another new pitcher, Taylor Rogers, coming on here for Minnesota.
And you see game number 32. ERA a little bit high here for Rogers, but a very nice strikeout to walk ratio for the left-hander. Look at those splits a little bit and dig in some more on Taylor Rogers. 261 against lefties, 292 against right-handed hitters this year. Fastball sits at 93. You'll see a slider, curveball, and changeup as well.
All right, so Rogers on. Reed through a scoreless 7th inning, although it was eventful. Rangers had him loaded with 1 out. And then one of the more spectacular double plays ended that threat. And it's funny because I mentioned that Reed had never allowed a run to the Rangers in some 10 outings. And I thought, well, there's no way he's getting through this one with that intact. It's going to happen. But he did. 1 ball, 1 strike on Nomar. He has a hit in 3 tries so far. He's also scored a run. It's a fireworks night here at Target Field, and after the game, the fans will be entertained. They have 28,004. They announced paid attendance. And yes, it got dark enough, CJ. It's okay.
It's getting there. So far in this at bat, Nomar Mazara has only seen curveballs from the left-hander Rogers, and it looks like a pretty good one. You see Nomar's taking a couple of uncomfortable swings and trying to check his swing. But this is surprising. The batting average against the curveball to lefties this year for Rogers, 353.
Oh, there's strike 3 called. Mazara knew it. 1 away in the 8th. Well, the 2018 Camping World MLB All-Star Ballot is now open and exclusively online. Make sure your favorite Rangers are represented on this year's squad by voting at texasrangers.com/vote. Catch all the excitement of the 89th Major League Baseball All-Star Game presented by MasterCard, July 17th, live on Fox. Beltré has been to his share of All-Star games. 1 for 3 here tonight. It was a couple years ago here when they hosted the All-Star game in Minneapolis, and Joey Gallo was one of the big stars of that whole thing. On the Futures game and home run derby side of it. No ground ball third base, 2 away here in the 8th inning. Let's check in with Leslie McCaslin.
Well, guys, Rougned Odor had a couple days off in a row earlier in the week, and then he came right back in that last game and had a hit in his first at bat, then had a home run. He told me those 2 days felt like 2 weeks because you want to play every day. So he said it kind of woke him up. He was anxious to get back out there. He said he's been working really hard. He said, you know, I'd go out before and I'd hit. I'd go out and do work in the field, but I've taken it to a whole nother level. And he says, right now, I feel really good.
I think it showed. I think the quality of that bats have been really good. His defense has been good, and I get it. Sitting around is really, really tough for guys.
A pop up, and that one just fouling out of the reach of Rosario. 0-1.
Sometimes you say as a pitcher, maybe you have a bad start. Those 4 or 5 days in between seem like an absolute eternity. And for a hitter, a couple of days off, and it's so difficult because a manager believes that he knows what's best for his player, but you're going to get some pushback because guys want to play all the time. But we've seen that trend where it's not just a day off once in a while, and when they give them a day off, they want it to be a full day off. They don't want those guys to pinch hit if they feel like they need it. But also, we saw this a couple of years ago with Andrew McCutcheon. Remember, he was going through a really tough time, and Clint Hurdle gave him an entire series off. He sat for 3 games straight against the Milwaukee Brewers, and that had to be just absolute torture for him. So I get it for Rookie. Those couple of days, no doubt, they just tick, tick. Every second probably goes by so slow. You just want to get back out there. You want to right the ship a little bit. You feel good. And like I said, he's been really good this month. You've seen some real positive signs.
That's with the base is empty and 2 out. And he hits his ball on the ground off the glove of Maurer, and caroms into right field. Odor's on his first hit of the night. He's now 1 for 4.
This ball was hard hit against a good lefty who's shown a good breaking ball here tonight against lefties, and this almost got a little hairy around first base. Watch the at bat here from Rougned Odor. Breaking ball that stayed in the zone a little bit more, but watch here. You see nice attempt by Joe Maurer to try to field this ball, but watch this right here. No contact. If Rugi runs into him right there, outside chance they're going to give him second base.
Yeah, he could.
You know, and you'll see guys lean in sometimes and try to initiate that contact.
Gallo trying to bunt. Well, they've given Gallo the entire left side of the infield. And so we've seen him a couple of times this year say, well, the heck with it then. I'll take it. I'll bunt it. Oh for 3 so far in this one tonight.
So you try to play along, right? So Joey Gallo is obviously watching the at-bats that the other lefties in this inning have gotten against a guy like Rogers. You could look at scouting reports all day long, but you see the trend. And Nomar Mazara saw 3 straight curveballs to start his at-bat. Rougned Odor saw 3 straight curveballs. Now Joey has seen 2 straight curveballs. I'm sorry, Rougned saw 2 curveballs. He went fastball, curveball, curveball. But now Joey has seen 2. And looks like maybe he's comfortable kind of pitching those lefties a little bit backwards. So to make that attempt to bunt early, in the back of your mind, you're probably thinking there's a decent chance you're going to get a curveball. It's a tough pitch to bunt.
1-2 the count. Well, that's a pretty good save by Wilson. Covers some ground to get to that one. That's good range.
Yeah, really nice job. Oof.
The outfielders are extremely deep with Gallo up there. Last time he did hit a ball really well out to the left of center field. Just missed getting it out, and it takes a good poke to get it out to straightaway center. There you see 411 just to the left, 403 just to the right of straightaway center.
It's amazing. This is almost like watching Lance McCullers Jr. last year in the postseason when he threw 24 straight curveballs, whatever it was.
Oh yeah, right.
13 out of 15 right now for Rogers have been breaking balls. There was a time where coaches would not let you do that. Not because they were worried about you getting hurt, just because they didn't feel like it was effective. But even though he has the high batting average against the curveball for left-handed hitters, it looks pretty good. You can see why he continues to throw it.
There's a heater. Now, given what we've seen, all these curveballs, he throws that fastball right there, kind of for show, right? Fastball up, curveball low. That's been the trend throughout baseball. If I'm Gallo, I don't know. I mean, I figure you just sell out completely on a curveball.
2 strikes is a little bit tougher to do because he beat Nomar with the fastball on his first at bat.
1 hopper to second base. Where the shortstop Adrianza is there and throws him out. The inning is done. No runs, a hit. Rangers leave another man. Bottom of the 8th coming. Rangers on top by 3. we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Saturday, June 30th, 8:05 the start time. White Sox and Rangers. First 15,000 fans get a Rugi and Smokey the Horse bobblehead, courtesy of Golden Chick. Tickets are available at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. All right, Jesse Chavez continues to get higher and higher leverage opportunities.
And he's earned them because he's pitched really well this year. There's the arsenal, 65% fastballs, 21% on the slider, 9 on the changeup, 5 on the curveball for Jesse this year. But he's done a really nice job. Started out the season as kind of that multi-inning reliever, long man, but he has been really, really good in those spots. And now we got a little issue going on out here in center field as Kevin Harmon takes the long jog, and Joey Gallo, part-time optometrist, digging in a little bit, seeing what's going on. I think he's about ready to make a diagnosis on Delano DeShield's left eye. Well, you were complaining about the bugs here a little bit the other day.
Bugs here for real. This is, you know, Jurassic Park doesn't actually exist.
Yeah.
But if it did, I would imagine the mosquitoes and whatnot would be a little bit like what they have up here.
Could be.
When they land on you, sometimes they physically move you.
Well, you're blaming your golf ball moving on as the bug that did it.
Listen, I'm not blaming that. Anything.
Scuffling here a little bit to get that out of there. That's a little freaks me out a little bit. No, it's not.
No, he just
I'll touch my eye.
I've always heard rubbing it makes it better.
Yeah. So you think? I mean, you think Delano's asking those guys, like, can you see anything in there? You know, you do that with people, right? Is there anything in my eye? Anything in my eye? You know, you feel like you feel something in there, but you can't see it, so you put the drops in or an eye wash.
Kevin Harmon, I mean, is that not a whole lot he can do, but
So like, listen, man, there's
All better.
nothing in there. Just keep rubbing it, playing with it. Jesse Chavez a little bit more time to warm up. Make Bandy run all the way out to center field.
it's definitely one of those things, though, right? That
Bandy's moving right now, by the way. You didn't see that, but he was basically racing Kevin Harmon back from center field.
that was pretty good.
Yeah,
It's one of those things, though. It's like the less attention you give it, the better it gets.
probably.
Right?
Yep. I loved watching Joey dig in there. Like he was all the way in, really trying to figure it out for
I got
the
it.
lineup.
Max Kepler's been waiting patiently, and then he rolls the first one to Odor, who rolls over to make the play, and he gets Kepler. 1 out here in the 8th inning.
That's a nice play by Rugi and a really nice play by Ronald Guzman. This ball was well struck. We're kind of sitting around for a little while where we talk about sometimes the dead time in between. Rugi looked like he was going to turn one way, turn back the other way, and put a lot on that throw, but it was in the dirt. And what a nice dig here by Guzman. It's not easy, man. That's fantastic. The scoop percentage goes up. It's gone up tonight. It's great anticipation. Always expect a bad throw.
That is a really tough play right there. All right, so pinch hitter now is Eduardo Escobar. Gets in the game. We didn't start today. Came out of the ball game early yesterday. The Red Sox plunked him in the first inning. He stayed in for another at bat, but it just did not go well. He had a bruise where that pad is right there. There's a bruise on his tricep, and you still see the laces of the baseball that Rick Porcello planted on him. But he gets in there here late. 0-2 the count.
Probably an indicator that we would see him in the lineup tomorrow, I gotta believe, depending on how he feels through this at bat.
Shoots this one over third, down the left field line, but foul.
There it is. See a couple of laces there. Gosh, that could not have felt good. Porcello's got some pretty good velocity, the heavy sinker. Likely stung a little bit. Now Jesse Chavez caught a little bit of a break too, as Escobar was showing his willingness to go the other way with 2 strikes. He's got an opportunity to expand the zone a little bit more. He'll be off the plate after that swing.
In on him. Escobar's been one of the guys who's been swinging it well lately. The month of June, he leads the American League with 27 hits, 19 of those for extra bases. But he swings and misses here. A strikeout for Chavez, 2 away.
A really good combination here by Jesse. After that hard slider in, then you go 2-seam fastball up and away. So basically you're looking at 2 balls having completely different movement. One that comes bearing in on the hands that was fouled off, and then you elevate that one moving away. It's a well executed game plan.
All right, and so they go to the bench again. Interesting. They are all in here in this 8th inning. Logan Morrison will hit for Bobby Wilson. Down by 3, 2 outs, nobody on. And that one finds the bottom of the zone for a strike. Morrison, a little below the Mendoza line. There are a lot of guys whose averages have really taken hits this year. We've seen batting average across baseball dip precipitously. Morrison, though, he's one of those guys over the years shown some power and whatnot.
Last year, 38 home runs, right? Set a career high for him.
He's never particularly hit well against the Rangers, though. The guy, career 175 average against the Rangers. It's in 29 games, so not an insignificant number. But you're right, last year tied for 5th in the league with those 38 homers.
He didn't sign till late February, almost March 1st before he signed here with the Twins. That was one of those for me. As much as we talked about the offseason and the free agents and some of the struggles and the money that wasn't there that a lot of people expected, he was one of the bigger surprises to me as far as how late he signed based on the year he had. Now, I can say it was a one-off year, but it was a career year. Maybe a little bit surprising to the rest of the league, and maybe that's what slowed it up a little bit. But it was still a really big year, and now here he is, off to a slow start as we get near the halfway point.
Well, for decades, it's always been about, well, go out, have a great year into your free agent season, and then, you know, you'd probably be rewarded for that. He's only 30 years old. Takes outside. But last year, played the most games he's ever played in a season, 149, and the most hits he's ever produced. Most runs, most homers, 85 RBIs, a career best. He walked 81 times, also a career high. So, I mean, decent on base. 3-2 pitch. Pretty good wood on that one. High in the air, deep to center field, but DeShields with room. And so it's a 1-2-3. Jesse Chavez had him all the way.
And that's it.
Here we go. 9th inning coming. Rangers lead by 3.
Nashville?
Oh. Wait a minute, that's Minneapolis. We're here. It's ironic. 4-1, Rangers lead. Hey, tomorrow, our Ford probables, Giovanni Gallardo makes his second start with the Rangers. You can see an 11 career starts against the Twins. Pretty good numbers, 4-2 with a 3.49. Jake Odorizzi, 2-0 with a 2.02 ERA in his 6 starts against the Rangers. So good matchup tomorrow. Day baseball tomorrow here in Minneapolis. And Matt Belisle is on here in the 9th inning for the Twins.
Back with the Twins now is Matt Belisle. Started the season with the Cleveland Indians and ultimately was released or designated for assignment, went to AAA, and then was able to get his release and come back here with the Minnesota Twins. You see 13 games for him. Most of those with the Cleveland Indians so far this year. Good strikeout to walk ratio, 7-1 for Belisle, who's got a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. You'll see a slider, curveball, and changeup. Good example of what you were talking about, the lower strikeouts here at the Minnesota Twins. Just a 4.6 strikeout per 9 rate, but less than 1 walk per 9, which shows you that 1 walk that he's allowed so far this year.
Just like that, he goes 2-0 to Robinson Chirinos. Robinson had the base hit in the 7th inning to start the mini threat. You see Kepler's moved into center field. Motter from 3rd all the way out into right field. Escobar stays in the game at 3rd, and Garver's the new catcher, and that one blasted right by Escobar down that left field line. Chirinos is on, heads for 2. Here comes the throw, not in time. And so Robinson with his 2nd hit of the night and his 9th double of the year.
Good job here by Robbie. They're trying to go down and away. This one elevated a little bit. You see him hit this ball hard. One hopper into the outfield, but into the corner. Good base running too. You know, Robbie, obviously not huge speed, did a nice job as he was coming in just in case there was a play. Went a little bit wide on his slide, but there was no play. You see it right there. Come to the outside as that throw is being made.
So he's in scoring position for Ronald Guzman, who's walked a couple of times. And he takes strike 1. Four to 1, Rangers lead, trying to pick up an insurance run or 2 in this 9th inning. Uh-oh. Way in. Guzman just got out of the way. Of course, currently a save spot for Keone Kela in the bottom of the 9th inning. He's had the last 2 days off. Yesterday, Rangers did not play. He did not pitch in the finale in Kansas City.
You watched Jake Diekman get that save, right?
This one out over shortstop into left field. That's a base hit. Chirinos stopped at 3rd on the single by Guzman. So back-to-back hits to start things in this 9th inning against Belisle.
It's a nice job by Guzman in that spot. So that ball was way in, a little slider cutter there from Belisle. But nice job of staying inside that ball. So yeah, things will change. I wonder what Jeff Bannister will ultimately decide to do if Robinson Chirinos scores. No longer a save situation. It's been a couple of days off, as you mentioned, for Kela because of the built-in off day and the fact that he did not pitch that last game in Kansas City. That was because he threw 3 out of 4 days.
Well, he is 2 entirely different pitchers.
Yeah.
Save spots, non-save spots. Infield all up on the edge of the grass. DeShields at the plate. Bounces one back to the mound. Chirinos coming down the line, so Belisle will have him in a rundown, and he'll tag him out. No, he dropped it. It won't matter. He's out. So an unassisted put out by Belisle.
Let's get into our Southwest Airlines player breakdown and get to Choo. This is an interesting night for him. We've talked about the great run that he has been on, but take a look at how his night kind of progressed. He struck out in the 1st inning, struck out again in the 3rd inning, but he's learning. He's taking in some data, and he cashes that work in as he hits an absolute bomb to right field here at Target Field. Nice job there by Choo, and intentionally walked in his last at bat. So he is all about the 3 true outcomes.
He's the poster boy today.
Now, I can't tell from here. Did I see Keller giving a standing ovation when Torino's got tagged out there? We kid. Save situation still alive.
And looks a little better from Keller's perspective now. Yes, he was definitely not applauding.
It's a weird spot to be in because you mentioned how good he has been. And for closers, they still want to be able to get the job done and pitch well. But there's something about the intensity when it's not a save situation. And of course, you want your guys to get hits and you want your team to score runs. You take those save opportunities as they come. And listen, it's not a bad challenge to have to deal with. There are a lot of challenges in this game. If for Keller that last final piece is trying to find a way to be the same guy in non-save situations, that I think would be a small hurdle for him to get over.
Well, and as long as you're warming up in the bullpen, you just as soon get in, right?
Mm-hmm,
because it basically works the same in terms of wear and tear, right? I mean, that's kind of the way it's always presented. They try to count guys' ups in the bullpen, make sure they count that as a day used, right?
Yeah, no doubt. All that stuff is tracked. It's not the same adrenaline intensity as opposed to going in the game, which you are out there throwing. And once you're up and you have that kind of adrenaline rush, you just prefer to go in. Most guys will tell you that the ups and the downs are getting up. I remember I was fortunate enough to share a bullpen with John Smoltz for a little while when he was closing, and he hated this part. This was the part he hated more than anything. He had no problem warming up, coming in games, pitching back-to-back days, but getting up, thinking you're going in the ninth inning, and then if the team scored an extra run, he wouldn't go in very often in non-save situations. Or the tie games where you're only going in the game if your team takes the lead. Those were tough, and they can't be tough on guys.
2-2. Choo's extended his streak. 35 straight now. Home run, a walk today, couple of strikeouts. Belial was in some pretty serious trouble there a moment ago. Did a good job defensively and now runs the count full on Choo. Game started with Fernando Romero, who went 6 innings, allowed 4 runs on 4 hits. A couple of walks hurt him. Minor went 6 very strong today, allowed a run on 3 hits. Struck out 3. Choo bounces this one on the ground and through into right field, base hit. Into third base, they will wave. Guzman, he hesitated to throw. He's safe. The swing tag by Garver just missed him, and Guzman gets in there. Meanwhile, going to second base, Choo, he picks up an RBI, and it's 5-1.
So it was interesting with Guzman. He went back and touched the plate again after he was ruled safe. This is a strong throw, but just up the line a little bit. Choo got jammed, didn't hit it very hard, but watch this throw for Minor. Pretty good throw. Just a little bit up the line, and we understand it here. You're going to see the call is no tag, and that's a really good call. And look at that other foot. That's a nice slide by Ronald Guzman. That's a really nice slide, actually. You're going to watch this here. Watch the first leg come across. The left leg misses, but the right leg actually, right foot, I should say, actually catches the plate. He went back and touched it just in case. But that was a really impressive slide.
Very nice play. He had Mayshore talking about it on the bench there, but well, he's been good, man. Really carries himself well at this level. Andrews, meanwhile, 0-1 the count. Infield is in.
Well, I think what's so encouraging about the play of Ronald Guzman is the adjustments that you're seeing, right? That's always part of the process, and rarely does a guy come up, get to the big leagues, dominates, and just does it for the next 10 or 15 years. There's adjustment periods in there, and he's learning as he goes, and the opportunity came quicker than expected, but I've been impressed watching him defensively, offensively, continuing to prove that he is a big leaguer.
So now Keller Glove off, hands on the hips.
And so I wonder now, does it mean whether he goes back out there in the non-safe situation, if you want to give him another day off, it'll be 3 days off. You do worry about the other side of it too, having too many. You could always send Jesse Chavez back out there.
Now Andrews retired, 2 away. For a strikeout for Belial. Brings up Nomar Mazara. Mazara already has a hit tonight, a couple of strikeouts. 1 for 4. Now Rangers shooting for their 6th straight win. Currently own the longest winning streak in baseball at 5. Yankees have won 4 in a row coming into play today, so 2 of the Indians. Twins have been a tough opponent the last couple of years for the Rangers, so it'd be very nice to get this first one. Twins, they really play the good teams in their division well. There's a ground ball through into left field. That's a base hit. DeShields and Choo will both score, so Mazara drives in a pair, his 2nd hit of the night, and now it's a wide margin for the Rangers. 7-1 our score here in the night.
So how many times do you think for teams that they have to see this right here from Nomar Mazara? We talked about it the other night where they're just leaving the shortstop position unoccupied with the runner in scoring position, and Nomar Mazara is hitting a ground ball right in that spot. I wonder if you see some teams starting to adjust a little bit as he adjusts to those shifts.
Another beautiful piece of hitting. 2 more runs in, 7-1. Beltré's 1 for 4 tonight, and Belial can't get him to chase that one. On the bottom of the 9th inning, the Twins will have the top of the order coming. The Rangers tacking on some big runs here late. 1-1 on Beltré. Belial, 38 years old. Good Texan, born in Austin, but not having a very enjoyable evening here tonight. This ball hit well out to the gap in left center field. That's an extra base hit. Mazara into 3rd. Beasley waves him to the plate. Beltré walks into 2nd base with the RBI double, and it is 8-1.
Rangers exploding here in the 9th inning. 4 runs now. You see the 11 hits total for the night. 4 runs in this inning alone. 10th double for Adrian Beltré. And as much as we talk about that swing and miss and lack of it and how do you work around it, well, the downside to being a contact pitcher and having a contact team is if you're missing spots, you become susceptible to some hard contact, and the Rangers certainly have had that this inning.
Belial just scuffling out there. Armin Alston, their pitching coach, the slow walk, just a little word or 2 of encouragement. This will be the 8th hitter of the inning for Belial. He waits for Odor to get in there. Oh, Ruby had the hit last inning. Banged one off Mauer's glove. Mauer down at first base diving to his right. Just kind of deflected it out into right field. It's good to see Rugi catch a little break right there.
So it looks like Jesse Chavez, I'm kind of guessing here a little bit, but maybe staying in this game, which for him would still be a save opportunity. Would pick up his 3rd save of his career. He does have a couple. He had one back in 2015, one in 2013. Both of those with the ace.
Odor with a big swing. Hits this one very high in the air out there. Motter will have plenty of room. Inning is over, but the Rangers pick up 4.
That was a good inning, lots of hits, but there's the excitement, the slide from Ronald Guzman, the big man. Left foot misses, right toe catches it. What an athlete.
All right, thanks, Rick. 9th inning. Rangers lead it 8-1. And Jesse Chavez does stay in the game. This ball hit down into the left field corner. Long run. Gallo into a slide, and he can't quite get it. And that wall gets on you in a hurry down there.
That is not fun for Joey Gallo. You see him there wincing a little bit. It was his right knee that's kind of favoring. Wasn't going to get to it, so he slides. Hey, you see it there. Left and right both kind of caught that padded wall. Looked like the right knee might have went in between the pads.
Yep.
A little bruise on the knee.
Yeah, he'll spend a little time in the training room afterward. Get that looked at.
He's going to look for it. Trying to air it out. Dirty sock over the top of it.
Rub some dirt in it, you'll be all right.
It's amazing. You think about how fast he was going. Those walls are pretty well padded. It did look like maybe he went right in between. Maybe that's what caused that laceration.
Oh, I thought it was just a cut. No 2 pitch.
Sorry.
Just misses. So Jesse Chavez, you pointed out, it is still a save situation for him. Because when he came in the game in the 8th inning, it was still at that point just a 3-run game, and he went 1, 2, 3 through the bottom of the order. And if he can complete this one and get the save, it would tie him on the all-time saves leader chart with C.J. Nitkowski.
Historic. We may have to celebrate he and I tonight.
It's good that you could be here for this moment.
Yep.
1-2.
Do we have a? I'm sure we have a full graphic built of all the lists.
All of those, the major leaguers with 3 saves. Next on the list are these 212 guys. 1-2 and just a little bit wide. Maurer is 1 for 3 tonight. Doubled his last time up. Well, this thing was moving along at a breakneck pace through the first 4 or 5 innings. Maurer out to left field and Gallo right there for it. 1 away. How about a word from our friends from Kia?
At Kia, get America's best value backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
One away. Here is Eddie Rosario. Rosario's had a frustrating night at the plate. A couple of pop-ups and a comebacker.
By the way, you really undersold it.
What do you mean?
You know how many guys have 3 saves?
So, wait a minute, what did I say? 200 and something?
Yeah.
It's a lot more?
Yeah.
Oh, no. How many?
1,270.
Wow. Wow. Where do you come in alphabetically there, though? Because that's what I mean.
Well, this is I didn't list it alphabetically. I don't think Stats Pass, which we use, allows you to do that.
Fastball just a little bit outside. 2-1 the count.
No, I did it wrong. Darn it. I always do this stuff wrong when I try to do it on the fly.
You should just do it on your computer.
That's what I should do. Let me try it again. Darn it.
Little roller toward third. And Beltré takes care of Rosario. Boy, Rosario, a really tough night. 0 for 4.
You were pretty close. 334.
Oh, okay. How many have 4? Does anyone just throw you?
I don't have time for this.
Brian Dozier now. Dozier also with a couple of pop-ups, both in foul ground. And then I don't know if he set the tone for the Twins offense tonight or what, but that first inning singled into left field and it just felt like it was a double, I guess, or running like he was invisible, and he was out by a long shot at second base. Gallo gunned him down. Perfect throw to the bag. They would not get another base runner again until the 6th inning, and the 6th inning was the only other inning in which they have had a base runner tonight. The 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, 8th, and now so far the 9th inning. The Twins have gone in order in all of them. This ball hit in the air to left field, but I think it broke his bat, and Gallo is right there. He'll put it away, and that'll do it. And the Rangers have won 6 straight. Jesse Chavez gets his first save of the year. Minor picks up the win, but it's 6 in a row for the Rangers.
Yeah, it's been a really good run here as of late, and we keep digging in and looking at what the Rangers are doing, and it really has been both sides of the ball. Really good starting pitching. More often than not, if you're going to go on a run, you have to get good quality starting pitching, and there's been consistency there, but nobody more consistent than that man in Choo, and the great job that he has done at the plate in the leadoff spot for the Texas Rangers. And it was another good night for him, one that started off a little bit slow, a couple of strikeouts, but then it was a home run, an intentional walk, and then a single in the 9th inning. And so some RBIs tonight, 2 of them for Choo, 3 of them for Choo, and it was all said and done. So the Rangers still having good production all the way around. Kind of healthy, I think, is a big part of that. We talked about that in our open, having everybody out there and available in that lineup, and kind of what they imagined before the season started, what this offense would be. That is there right now, and it's clicking on all cylinders. And we talked about the schedule too, and kind of working out the right time for the Rangers to get on a run, and so far taking advantage of that between the Rockies, the Royals, and now here against the Twins.
A couple of big insurance runs tacked on in the 9th inning. Nomar Mazara, a big part of that, and he is hanging out right now with Leslie.
Thanks, guys. Well, Nomar, we've talked about this a lot this week. You beating the shift and finding the open field. How do you keep doing that?
Just try to put the ball in play. Just trying, like, I mean, every time I look around to see how they play me. If they play me with a shift, you know, just try to look for a pitch middle away and try to put the ball on. And, you know, I've been practicing that a lot in BP too. So if they keep giving it to me, I'm going to keep taking it. So why not?
For you guys to have struggled this season and right now to be in a 6-game winning streak, what's that like for you guys?
It feels good. It feels good. Always feel good to win. You know, we're in a roll right now. We hopefully to continue to do that. You know, we're having great at bat. The pitching staff has been great, and you know, we're doing the little things. We're moving the runner over and getting the big hits. So hopefully we'll continue to do that.
How much of that is a lot of young guys maturing as we go?
A lot. You know, you see their approach. You know, they're working really hard in the cage with Mash and Ayaposi. So you know, they're talented. So they're gonna do some things. So.
All right, we appreciate it. Thanks, Nomar.
All right, thank you.
Yep, I like it, doing the little things, and that's what they have done well today to the tune of an 8-1 win. Rick Renner hanging out with Mark McLemore and Jeff Fry. They've got a lot more to talk about from this one tonight. For CJ Nitkowski, Leslie McCaslin, and our entire crew, I'm Dave Raymond, inviting you to stay with us. More coverage of tonight's Rangers win coming up right after this.